motion to approve the teleconference minutes from January 10th.
So moved.
Go to the agenda first.
Whoops. Well, I got the minutes now. Go ahead. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Who, sorry, who?
I
Okay.
made the motion
Sorry.
to approve the telephone.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say aye, John.
No.
You're an aye, right, on the minutes?
What's that?
You're an aye on the minutes, right?
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Agenda approved.
I don't know, that's kind of a long agenda. I don't know if.
The, Mark Miller.
We need minutes from 12 too.
Oh,
I made a motion and Chris seconded.
no.
Well,
So that's, we have two different sets of minutes to approve.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry.
How about from the 12th then?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Minutes approved. Communications. Anybody have any calls about the snowstorm?
Oh, just a few hundred, I think.
Anybody say, boy, this is great?
Yeah, I did, well, when I was out in public, I got that comment, but not on the telephone.
No, the people that
Nobody went out of
called,
their way to call me and tell me that.
yeah. I had one really lengthy, probably 45-minute call with somebody that I think frequents you.
Yeah, I was just to say, what if that was him?
And then I think an email was sent out afterwards.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah,
a long talk.
I had about a 45-minute talk.
That's.
And at one point-
All of us.
At one point, he was wondering, like he said, we should do this XYZ thing. And I told him, we can't do that because the code says that. He told me he didn't care about the code. And I told him, well, I have to care about the code because I don't want to have a lawsuit.
Said a lot of derogatory things about the road department.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, he's the one that suggested a snow blower,
Yeah.
so I don't know if,
We could buy one for 20,000. I don't know where that's at.
well, that would be up to Nick and what he evaluates and what he thinks he needs for equipment. I mean,
It's hard to justify. Nick said 100,000 or plus. How do you justify one to use every 20 years?
Yeah, look how many farmers sitting in the back of their sheds, never bought them, never used them.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I used ours.
Yeah,
roads are-
when's the last time you used them?
there's still, you know, one
I bought it
way
last year,
traffic in
actually.
some of the
Some
roads.
people get to farmers couldn't even get
It's
to them.
just the way it is. I
They're
mean,
very far back in their sheds.
torrential event, you know.
We have 20 some plus inches of snow in a week.
Yeah.
You know, I worked the road here for 31 years and been through every snowstorm for 31 years, and this is in the top 5. And I talked to people that have been here for 20 years that called me this week that, oh, you know, that's not right. I'm like, okay, I've been here for 31 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to prepare. I mean,
Yeah.
And the thing is, if we got one snow blower, how long would that take to get around the county in a storm like we just had?
They
Yeah.
still be doing it, I mean,
They're
there's,
still going.
yeah.
They're on the old 149, widening that up to this morning.
Right.
Yeah, so on the subject, Nick called me this week about getting the DOT's blowers. And the DOT told him that the governor had to sign a proclamation of disaster. So I've been working with the senators on this. And long story short, we actually talked about this last night at EMA meeting. And we have a DOT employee over here. And you told us it probably wouldn't even be worth it, the one that you guys have. Yeah. Unless we get the one from Cedar Rapids, but we do need something like on 190th, it's bad, like how narrow it is. I don't think you couldn't get a fire truck down it.
Don't think so?
No.
Hmm.
No, up by Box, no way.
Huh. Usually they're about a little wide enough that you can get a tractor down through.
No,
Same
our
thing.
dually barely fits.
That's just something, it really goes through a fire truck would, doesn't it?
You think so?
You go down 190th to just on the east side of Conroy and go south down towards my road. It's pretty narrow at times there too.
Yeah.
But that's nature, you know?
Yeah. But we're trying to get it, they want us to have a loss of life essentially, and me and John are trying to convince them that can we prevent the loss of life before we do that, like. So,
Or a bad accident because then I go, great, now we got to stage an accident.
That's what it's
there needs to
amazing.
be a vehicle in the sport.
It's amazing that we don't, it hasn't happened, somewhere in the state of Iowa.
I just
Well-
can't believe we didn't have a fire, a house fire or something while we were all.
One day I saw the trucks go out, but I don't know where they went. That'd be terrible. That wouldn't-
Death down in North English. That was in town.
Mhm. I
Wasn't
did hear
really-
about that one. That was
wasn't-
in the, behind the post office, right?
Right, it wasn't related to the roads, really.
Yeah.
So I think that took most of our communications.
I had a Clear Creek watershed meeting this week, and I also had a ECOG, East Central Iowa Workforce Development meeting this week that I went through, and nothing huge to report other than the Clear Creek watershed may have discovered more additional funding that they may want to continue the process. And
You'll have no water's gonna be coming down that way this spring.
yeah, I think there will be, right? And so I did have that meeting, and then,
Wasn't there an Iowa watershed meeting here a couple weeks ago?
This is, well, we moved this one back to this week, so maybe that's what.
Oh, that was January 4th, it was supposed to have been one.
Yeah. So this is, so, yeah. If anything comes out of that funding, I'll be sure to report it and let everyone know.
I just had, Alan and I both had a call about the storm from the same guy. I think Alan probably,
This is from East of Parnell.
right. I think
Oh, yeah.
I was going through quite a bit when he called me, so, with family problems and stuff, so
They went out and
I
visited
think
them.
he laid most of
Oh,
it on you, I think.
Yeah, he didn't bother telling me that he'd already talked to you.
No, I talked to him after you,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so,
So-
and I kept it pretty short, because I had things I really had to do, and,
were we piling Holly?
what's that?
Were we piling snow on him?
Yeah, mailbox got taken out.
Intentionally. And then the mailbox situation, I told him, I bet you that we've probably taken out 20 mailboxes so far. And
Yeah, it's been
then
a
I
while.
called Nick up, and Nick said we're probably close to 60. So.
And I told him that, and then I read him the snow ordinance. And, I said, that's about the discussion we can have right now.
Yeah.
And that we would relay it on to Nick.
So it was very calm and professional, and moved forward.
He just wanted to talk about it. And I also was gonna talk about AEA and mental health, but I'll wait till Marilyn talks, because it's kind of all related to the same situation. And then, I finally do have my first, sixth judicial criminal justice meeting, February 2nd. That'll be the first one we have as an advisory board and not a governing board anymore. So we'll see how that goes. But that's all I had for this week.
And he gets to be on a Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday afternoon, so
Okay.
I told him I could be there unless we're really serious into budget talks then, in the afternoon.
You guys had an EMA meeting last night about the budget, which was pretty lengthy. I think we knocked a little bit out of the budget. Not enough, but
Yeah, not enough. But that's too, like, essentially my take on, well, what happened was, the one thing that did get changed, the only one thing, was taking the 15,000 of building maintenance out of the budget, because Dylan's already budgeting for those buildings, and they're technically our buildings, like none of the other department heads budget for their own building maintenance, we take care of it, Dylan does, it's in the courthouse budget. So we did, or you guys did take that out, but not the part-time employee yet, but I think there was too much, the discussion was going so long that I think
we weren't getting anywhere.
that nothing was getting done, so that's why the motion was made, just to take that out for now, and then try to do, I think you guys are gonna do some homework in the meantime to figure out what else they wanna cut, and if they wanna cut out the part-time employee.
Is there really much they can cut? Because I mean, predominantly, most of their budget is communications and radios, right?
Well, that's 317,000 out of 748,000.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it's 400, something else.
It's 300,000 for radios?
Yeah, do you have a copy of that 20E agreement that he was discussing?
I do not.
Because I looked on the reporter's index inquiry and I couldn't find it.
But that's Brandy, she may be able to find it.
It's not
For
right.
the contract
Let's
for,
run it. I
There's
think
supposed to be a
one-
2080 agreement between EMA and the Board of Supervisors regarding that. So I just was curious what that, what said. But, I don't know, there's some things I don't know that they're gonna have to look at cutting a little bit, but I mean, as I said in my email, and we'll talk about that at budget, when we get to budget. I mean, we have a bad ending fund balance problem in the supplemental fund. So I have some ideas of how to fix that, but they're not pretty. And it's gonna affect everybody in the county if we have to go that route, because right now we're at negative 394. So we're gonna have to somehow come up with the money. But we can talk about that at budget time.
Were you here for open communications?
I'm just here for the share picture, share agreement thing with whatever.
Did you get a hold of him when he was coming on over?
He said, maybe around like 10:30 or so. I don't know if you wanna text him and see if that's what he's still thinking.
Rob,
Yeah,
I will.
what did you come over at 10:15?
yeah, I asked Rob to come over to discuss that, because we've gotta start getting that figured out for you guys, so you know what to budget. And the problem with us is we just don't know what raise for sure we're gonna be able to give this year and how to reflect that cost to you guys, We could say, oh, we're gonna give them 5% and we end up only giving 2.5 or whatever, so.
But they're already set, aren't they? With their contract?
They're tied to the sheriff.
Right.
We have to redo the contract system.
Right. But the raises for the sheriff should be reset.
They're tied to Rob now, so it depends what we give Rob.
Oh,
They have an extra 1% in there this year, plus whatever Rob gets.
will you email it to Brandy? I just looked at her EMA stuff, because it may be in there, but it's not
Okay.
there, so. You can ask John.
Well, one thing that they did do last night too is change Josh's IPERS designation, like we did for the dispatchers. That's another thing that happened. And then we're gonna share the tower at Homestead Tower at Benton County. It's another important thing, right?
does it affect us?
Well, it's less money, right? They cover all the increase or whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna pay for the increase that incurred for them being on it,
Yeah,
but we're not gonna save any money on it.
yeah. But since it's our agreement with them, I probably should tell them.
Boring week, Nick? Boring week?
Yeah, not too exciting. All week.
Nobody called you once.
Yeah, did you call? I just.
Yeah, I heard you once.
Yeah.
Before making the other phone call.
All right, well, man, you guys wanna approve final plans for that Wolfman Bridge?
I'm so glad that you switched over to our talking now.
Thank you.
You just signed a couple of pages long.
Does anybody else want to see these before I sign them?
No, we never. I'll make a motion to approve them and have it, we all sign them, right? Not just you?
Great.
Yeah.
You all sign them.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
All right, then we have fuel bids for 2024. They run from February 1st to February 1st? Something like that, January 31st.
I like where diesel's headed right now.
So you have the 3 bids there, and I'll keep that. That's more information. You guys are gonna ask what last year's prices were.
Okay. Victor Oil.
We have them submit bids 2 ways. There's a margin there, which is essentially what the DOT rack price is, plus, and then they add in their delivery fee, or you can do a set price for the whole year.
Okay, Victor Oil's gasohol on the vendor margin is 15 cents. And that's the same for also for their diesel. Def additive is $3.65. Premium additive is $40.
Meaning what?
What?
Meaning $40
Premium additive,
added per gallon per,
$40 to treats 1,000 gallons.
okay.
And then winter additive is $54. There's not a. There is no set price.
They might not have submitted.
You said you got last year's bids? I decided to.
What's that?
You have it already though?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you pulled it up my binder. That was Victor?
It was Victor. Multi-county oil. Put it back in. What?
Now, can I take, copies of these bids?
Yeah.
If I can say the right thing.
Okay. Their margin bid is 13 cents on gasohol. Diesel is, number 1 is 12. Number 2 is 10 cents.
Who is this?
10 and a half, sorry.
Multi-
10.5.
Def is $1.93.
Ooh. What difference there?
Premium additive is a nickel,
Nickel a gal?
it's per gallon. And winter additive is a nickel per gallon.
So that would be what? $50 each? For 1,000 gallons to translate to the other bid.
And then the other bid form, gasohol 266. Number 1 diesel 345. Diesel number 2, 295.
Who is this for?
Multi-county oil.
Oh, so
This is a fixed price instead of the,
Def additive is $1.93. Premium additive as needed is a nickel. And winter additive is a nickel. Yeah, that's on everything.
So did we not get a per gallon price from Victor Oil?
Did not.
I don't understand.
we didn't get it fixed.
You get a fixed price.
You can do a fixed price. You gotta.
The margin.
You get the margin.
Margin.
That multi-county oil's blowing that away, so.
Mm-hmm.
What's the better deal, to buy it, to lock in the price or go with that?
Well, that's the decision we get to make.
Well, when Biden got elected,
We locked it in.
we locked it in because we needed to go up and we actually came in good that year, so. Alan and I pushed for that for the first time, wasn't it, Kevin, the first time you've ever locked it in?
Yeah. Iowa County fuel bid, doesn't say who it is.
Probably New Century.
Oh, there it is, sorry.
Oh, yeah, another one?
Yeah, on the vendor margin per gallon, put 11 cents for everything. 11 cents for diesel 1 and 2. Def additive is $1.99 per gallon for 2000. Premium additive is a nickel. Winter additive is 4 cents.
Oh,
And the set price says $2.44 before tax.
Do we pay tax?
yeah, I was gonna say,
We don't
do we
tax,
pay
do we?
tax?
You pay, you don't, well, 244 before tax. You don't pay tax, but there are other, even with this 13 cents or 11 cents, there are other fees that can go on there. Not necessarily, I don't know if it's like a hazmat tax or, whatever, but we don't pay the state fuel tax. If we get at the pump, we pay, and then we send it in, we get a discount. But there are some other small fees that are added on to all of these in the end.
I like the set price at 244.
What is the rest of them though?
Yeah.
Diesel number 1 is $3, so 3.249.
That makes a big difference. So
Number 2 is 2.999.
Which one do you use more of, Dick? Number one or number two?
I always get these mixed up. So number 2, which one's?
Number 2 is summer stuff, right?
Number 2 is the summer, so we use that, and in the winter time, I think it's a 50/50 mix. Either way, 50,000 gallons a piece, it looks like we use.
Def additive is $1.99. Premium additive is a nickel, and winter additive is 4 cents.
Their margin was 11 cents on everything, is that right?
Yes.
So if we wanna go
The current-
marketing, New Century is our best bet.
The current DOT rack price
What is that?
is, for diesel number 1 is 268. Or number 2, it's 242.
My calculations of New Century.
So you're saying like the rack price right now is less than what they've bid?
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's the way it always is, it has to be, because, so if you pay right now, you get 268 plus the 11 cents, that would be your current cost, but if you wanna lock it in, they have to buy futures. So that they lock in their price, and in buying futures, that means that whoever has that, that's the cost of storage, it's the cost of, so essentially you're buying all the fuel now, but you have to store it, and so there's a fee associated with that.
Yeah, you're waiting.
That's the best I've heard and explained it.
With it being election year, I can see it going all over the board.
I think you'd be safer.
I know that, I think right now is what, 70 or something like that. I would think it could go higher.
It could double it. Everything hits the fan over there like it's starting to.
Definitely could. You want the prices for last year?
Sure, yeah.
I'd like to see us lock it in.
Sure. Our prices, here, you can pass this around. That's last year's, and now the blue is this year, what was submitted. And Sarah, you want some copies here, right?
Yes.
All right, so here's a bid form. So as you can see, it's, the margins are about the same. New Century was 13 cents for gas last year, but 11 cents. But that locked in price, what did they say for, doesn't really matter for gas. We're like 80 cents cheaper for diesel than a year ago.
I think it was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because this would be our report here.
You would only need your last page.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No. You would have
No,
the last 2 pages.
this one.
You need that one. That's just what they submitted.
Let me make sure I got it all.
You only really need these 2 big ones.
This one is- oh, yeah. It's got-
Basically, if we lock in, we'll be even less than we had last year. We went to premium last year.
So you went what?
Last year they go,
You went margin.
We went margin
Right,
last
right,
year.
Yeah.
The only, I think 2021 was the only year that we locked in. I'm just looking to see what we even locked in at.
2020,
2022, you took margin.
2021, we locked it in.
I didn't go back that far, probably.
I think it would be wise to lock it in, just what's going on over the Middle East. Just my opinion.
Would you do me a favor, will you just email this to me? Yeah, here, just email these to me, would you?
I would be inclined to do
That
that
would-
too, just because
that would
it's
be-
probably less than what we paid for it.
Let me
my-
let me get this.
I don't think it would hurt by any means. Here we go.
So last year we did the margin, right?
We locked it in, number 2 is 251. And
What year was this?
2021,
2021, yeah.
DEF $1.49, 5 cents, 4 cents on the additives.
So essentially, what you kind of have to ask yourself is by locking it in, you're paying an extra 50 cents.
Right now,
I shouldn't say 50 cents, because you take out the
The
rack
11.
price. So you pay an extra 40 cents for right now. Do you think it's gonna stay where it is or go down, you know, then you stay, even if it goes up 30 cents, you'd still take the margin. But if you think it could go up $1 or more, you would lock in the price or, you know, locking in the price also makes the little thing easier for budgeting,
it does.
but that's.
You ever, at the end of the year, figure out what would have been best?
Usually I do. I think I just did it for this one. I think we come out fairly close on this one.
But the one that we locked it in, we did save money. I
You
think,
save money.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, 30 or 40 grand maybe.
Yeah. I think that's right. So
I'm pretty sure over this last year, we would have been very close. It was kind of hard to figure a little bit without doing exact day to day. Usually when I do an estimate, I just take an average price for the month. But in November, I think gas prices really fell. Was it November? One of them, they fell really, really hard. So I think we're about even though.
I'll be the trend, I'll be the opposite. I think we're better off with the rack price plus the margin.
Actually, maybe this last year you would have been better off because prices have come down quite a bit since you took the margin. Since you took the margin, the prices have come down, but somewhere in the middle, I think they went up. So I think maybe you lost money in the middle of the summer and made a bunch of back in the last couple months.
It started the last 3 weeks to really drop.
Yeah. Because it was something like, yeah, I was.
We have to make a decision today.
Yes.
Mhm. I can go either way.
I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, if you're happy with that lock-in price, which I think is an okay price.
244,
Well,
And
look more at the diesel.
Yeah.
Look more at the diesel. We buy a lot more diesel.
324 and 299.
Yeah, I'm happy with the 324.
so the 244 was the
Gasoline.
gasoline. The
Which we use about-
3 1/4 is the number 2.
Number one,
or number one, yeah, number one, sorry, and then 299 is
number two.
number two.
Or maybe you think it's an election year and they might continue to drop, so they get bubbles out of
That's
it.
what I think.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, I'm,
Nobody's gonna let it go up.
Yeah, and I could go either way. I'm not a market guy myself, so.
I'd say margins, gut feeling,
That's all?
Motion?
sure.
For FS?
For New Century FS
Okay.
on the margin price.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
nay,
Motion approved.
I think you're right. I don't think they're gonna let the prices come up, because he's gonna wanna win.
very well.
Doesn't have anything else going for him,
It's
so.
gonna take one bomb in Tehran to double it up.
Is it legal to
Right,
make
you
side
don't,
bets
you're
after
right,
the
you just.
meeting?
That's been there for
What'd
the
you
last
say?
50 years.
I know, it's just getting a little bit more dicey over there.
Probably.
I'm risk adverse.
Kind of like when you.
Alan,
get,
is it legal to make side bets after the meeting?
No, no betting, please.
There's a whole stock market out there. You knew where it was going. You wouldn't
I wouldn't be there.
retire by the end of the week.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you for securing those, Nick.
the bridge on East Avenue, we're gonna start tearing it out next week. So they're still gonna come in on the 5th, I believe. But, we'll make do. T-3710, which is the bridge, the Castle Bridge up there. We're signing those contracts, getting that paperwork going. And B66 from Marengo to 210, 200, 210, 200,
210.
200. That was left, I always get that mixed around. That was left this week. Your low bidder is LL Pelling. We have 3 bidders. Your low bidder is LL Pelling for roughly 2.8 million, a little less. And our cost estimate was 3.5.
Ooh.
My cost estimate was 2.85, Max is 3.5. It came in really close to mine, I'm giving crap all week. So, it's good. It's, very similar prices, if not a little bit down than last year. There was no big inflation. Same with that bridge we did a couple weeks ago. You know, the last couple of years, we've been doing 15% inflation. This one was actually a little bit of deflation. So I will have, if I get the B66 contract and everything for next week, we'll go through the official bids and we can award it to Pelham.
Who else bid on it?
Manats was close behind at 2.85 million, and then Inroads was 3 million.
Where they at?
Inroads?
Yeah.
Rob, answer.
Austin?
I think so.
It's a shoot off from,
Norris?
yeah, one of those. Where is it? Manat, no, it's a shoot off from Manat, right? Joe Manat, is he the one that does Inroads? Yeah, I think it's a shoot off from Manat.
It's kind of weird, you know, Manats and Pelham are owned by the same company.
Well, and then Inroads is, his name is Manat.
It is.
So, and then they're buying up all the quarries too.
Isn't there a board game named after that?
Yeah, right?
Well, they also own Woodland Quarries.
So anyway, thought it was a good price. Pelling's a good contractor. We'll get all that going next week. We're happy with that. Our guys have been pushing snow. They've been doing 12 to 14-hour shifts. We have all the motor graders out, all the end loaders out, helping. And we finally got the last people out of their houses on Tuesday. Yesterday, we started widening back. Today should go quicker. We're just gonna go around and they're hitting up every road to get the drifts open. So again, emergency vehicles and people can get out of their houses. We are gonna work, a 12-hour shift tomorrow, and probably Sunday too, to get them back wider, yeah.
How's the morale? Is it okay?
I think they're tired, but they had the option to work this weekend or not, and they chose to, like,
Okay.
so even though they're a little tired, I mean, they definitely care about their roads. You
Yeah.
know, I think they wanna sleep in a day or two, obviously, because they've been here by 5 every morning, 4 to 5, but,
I don't know how to give them praise, but I think they've done a great job for what we've been in.
yeah, I do too.
Jared and I were talking about like having like pizza for all the shops one day or something.
I know,
I don't know
and,
what-
in the castle, they sent a care package up,
Oh, that's nice.
but it's like a water ticket, but they're not gonna know what that is, because they're all running 12-hour shifts, so I'm holding on to it and eating the goodies until, until I can kind of give it to them and tell them where it actually came from.
I've never seen Elm Avenue so clear before. I started out that morning, came out of Waynesburg to 3 Mile Corner and turned, I'm like, oh my God, it's like nothing on it.
Mhm.
I'm like, whoever did this road was excellent. Just excellent.
Well, they probably had a crew on that one 24/7.
Is that
No,
emergency road?
Wasn't
we
Chase going?
ran until 10.
Yeah, I ran to Chase at the grocery store. He says he used to go home, take a nap before he go back out or something.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned to me they thought they seen the state plowing one of our roads too, going from point A to point B. Was there anything to that?
It could be. I know that like when we go from, V66 here over to V77, M to P, we'll drop the plow sometimes. I think the state will also, when they come out of the shed there,
Yeah.
they'll drop their
On my
plow.
road there, they do.
They'll
They
drop
always
their,
hit B77.
yeah, I mean, that's just kind
It's
of,
just one hand washes the other and helping out. If you're going that way, I'm way for God's sakes,
Yeah.
drop the plow. It's just common
Yeah.
sense. So I'm glad to hear you do that.
Nice job.
Did anyone forward to Nick the message that we received from Coverly?
He responded to it. You did it.
which one?
I responded
Dusty.
back to it, but
I thought Nick did too.
So,
I did a lot of messages and
I'll
calls.
forward this to you just so you have it.
What's the address?
It doesn't say.
uh,
Let me look here.
southwest
West
of Williamsburg.
I'll forward it
Is
to
that
you.
the-
Yeah.
And send my
No, I did not.
response to it.
I thought you did.
He had a couple ideas in there, and I don't know if any of them are
Next to
valid,
Williams.
but I will pass them on to you as we should.
Like, on the side, I mean, that road.
Is it the one up like 250 is an MM?
How about Chris? Hog buildings? Yeah. I'm sure he contacted you, didn't he?
No, he doesn't contact me.
Yeah, no, I think it was
You talked
mainly,
to Tim.
Anyway, you have a copy of it now, so I just want to make sure you've seen my response to it.
He talked to Tim.
Okay. Most everybody that's called in has been super nice and super understanding.
I had a lot of calls and I said, if you want to file a formal complaint, put it down in writing, either on an email or a letter. Because I said, we get so much contact, we can't possibly remember everybody we talked to in a storm like this.
I had people that I even like, I don't even know who you are, and they were all calling me, and I'm like, I don't even know.
Were most of them complaints or they just want to know when they're gonna get out?
Most of them were just want to know when they're gonna get out.
Right. I received very few complaints, in all the phone calls. I mean,
I think I only had,
some of them,
Like, one was really bad.
some of them will tell you then that, you know, we need to double our staff and double the equipment and all of that. Uh-huh.
yeah,
And, but that was only a couple, and then most of them, even if they call them mad, you explain the whole situation, and by the end of it, well, no, I am thankful, you know, so I will say that most everybody was.
The two I had went from, I had 2 complaints and it went from the snowstorm to how we don't do things right with the gravel. And
yeah,
it was, I think people just wanted to vent and
What's wrong with the gravel?
we don't do
Well,
it
it's never
right.
enough.
We don't do it right and we graded at the wrong times and Do we not even look at the weather before we
Yeah.
come out and grade it? We grade it right before a rainstorm, then it gets all muddy.
There was
Secondary
this-
roads shouldn't get a raise this year.
But it was just two people that were that way. The others, when I explained, this is what we have for people and this is what you just have to be patient.
Yeah, okay, because you got equipment that's not being used. We only got so many people.
And so many people don't
What
know.
equipment wasn't being used? It was
Maybe
all.
like an end loader or something wasn't moving. Because I can run that. I go, no, you can't.
You have to keep an end loader around to load the trucks. Other than that, they were out. We put up V-plows on them, they were out. And so then in one of those days when we didn't do trucks, it was out too.
I think you guys did a
Yeah, I didn't.
spectacular job. I mean, before the storm we had, those guys are working hard and they're out there way more hours than people really realize. Appreciate
This
it.
rain next week's gonna be,
I haven't said what that's gonna do yet.
Interesting.
Well, I've worried about road dust for a while.
no more fugitive dust.
We're kind of right on the line of the freeze, so it's gonna be interesting. But I thought,
So we're working a little bit, this is on the list, we'll just go to it now, the snow blower. Let's revisit that. Back in 2021, I had done some research on getting a snow blower because I've seen a lot of things, why don't we have a snow blower? So pulled it up, yes, from 2021, we had done some quotes. And you can get a 25-year-old snow blower for 60 grand, and you get a 30-year-old snow blower for 50 grand, if you can find parts for them.
That's old.
And
And that was 3 years ago.
that was 3 years ago. So we had done the research, and at that point, I think the consensus of the board was kind of, well, in 2021, how often would you have used a snow blower before this? And I said, well, this would have been the first time in 8 years. And so we kind of just laid off. So we can look into it again if we want a snow blower. And I'll tell you, so I have no problem getting one for 60 grand. That's fine. Let's just
Something
go,
that old.
let's go through the negatives. It's going to be a little bit older. You're probably going to have a little bit of trouble finding parts. It will go on the front of an end loader, okay? And even if we would have had a snow blower this go around, people still want to be out of their houses within 24 hours, right? A snow blower on 1/90th alone wouldn't have gotten down 1/90th in a day, right? It wasn't going to make it all over the county to get everybody out unless you had one for each end loader, and then still we're not. Just going down 1/90th, a snow blower is gonna take a day there just to get that open. So it's not like 1 or 2 snow blowers is gonna make a whale of a difference, because we still have the end loaders out with the V-plows pushing roads open, at least during the initial blizzard, right? But if we did have one right now, we could still have it running, going after those piles, so that we don't have drifts in the future as bad. You're gonna get complaints that we're throwing snow into the field.
Yeah, remember that.
You're gonna get other complaints, but,
Around people's fences, remember?
oh yeah. I haven't gotten any this year, that's usually.
I think until you find us a federal grant, they'll get us 3 new snow blowers and just table this.
I do too. I'm not in favor of them at all.
I'm in favor, just whatever your opinion is, it's your.
What funds can we use to buy it? Is it limited?
It's your local funds.
That's what I thought.
So whatever your conclusion is, I would probably just kind of like it in the minutes or something, because we have thousands of people out there all over the internet and whatever. Why don't you have a snow blower? Why don't you have? And I can tell you that I'm not opposed to it. And if you want something that's probably a little bit newer, you're probably looking at 100 grand. I'm not opposed to it, but it also could sit for 10 years not being used.
How
And
big
it's-
of one were you looking
these are anywhere from 12 to 14 inch augers. And
Yeah.
they have, we're gonna go with like an average of 9 to 10 foot width.
at? Okay,
Mr. DOT, you got an opinion?
I don't think your inloaders will have enough.
that's what I'm wondering, are we gonna have horsepower?
We have one end loader, I believe, at the yard that would have enough load to get and go. I think the one at the yard.
I just know the Cedar Rapids one, them are on 500 horse Cummings. And they're the legit things, but I
Right, I
just
saw,
don't think you're gonna be able to move it enough with the inloader for all hydraulic, in my opinion, but.
Enough gallons per minute?
but these, some of these, they have a full, if I'm reading it right, and if you know more about it, the engine and everything is on the snow blower. I mean, it all powers itself, right?
I don't
No.
know. I've seen them.
You still need your hydraulic,
Well, it depends on, it could have a self-sustaining, ones he looked at.
Yeah,
I
it
know.
runs-
They wouldn't have the hydraulics back then.
The
25 years
hydraulics
ago.
will still run the.
true?
They still run the chute, yes, but, see,
Yeah,
there's a lot I gotta look into, but I know that these prices, we all scoured all over the internet, at least those were the prices for something that old.
yeah,
At that point, we tabled it. If you want me to look into the different types of systems and the different sizes and more into the cost and availability of parts, I mean, we can go into all that. We might want to wait until summer because the mechanics are a little bit busy and a lot of this will come down to George.
yeah.
You know, he'll give me all the specs.
What's your highest horsepower tractor?
Oh, I have no idea what
I think that Private International probably is. They're not very big.
Yeah,
no, that's not, the one tractor is what, 95, 100 or something?
If we get to having these 3 times a year, these types of systems, then yeah, I'd be favor of looking at it, but it's more of a want than a need at this point. Our budget is so damn tight coming forward, we don't have any money to spend on a $100,000 snow blower.
For a one-dimensional.
Yeah, I think this conversation just needs to cease.
yeah.
Perfect. Write that down so I can put it in my snow blower
Hope
file.
that for
So I can put it in my snow blower file and we'll continue on.
That's not, I mean, if you wanted to do research, that's
Yeah,
not
see,
the
I-
style.
Yeah, you
I was
want
gonna-
research, that's fine,
I
but
was gonna
we're
dis-
not gonna.
I was gonna disagree on that. I think it'd be nice to know what it would cost.
There should, I don't know if the state auctions them off that much, but I think I have seen their, everyone calls them the snow goes, them are themselves. And the engines on them are very up to date, like, it's actually a newer Cummins engine, has a touchscreen that runs it. The body and the engine on it is from the 70s and 80s, but boy, they work. But
The body and engine on the snow blower or are they
the
sell the whole
engine
rig?
snow blower is a newer, the one I have a load and haul from Ames, it's a newer, 3 or 4 year old Cummins engine, like the touchscreen, you can, everything on it. The body and frame is an older from like the 80s.
Okay,
It's vintage inside.
okay.
But
Yeah,
they do, I think I have seen them go to auction, but I think the state only has 6 or 8 in total in the whole state. So,
I was told the other day then too, that some of these snow blowers, they have one at each DOT shed.
we have one at the Williamsburg shop that's on a 125 horse tractor with the front PTO on it. But the power of that is not like, well, in front of John's house, when I had to use it the other night, just because we got drifted in. It's the top of the snowboard is probably 4 feet, and I was taking the whole width, and I was in low side in first gear, and I had to keep feathering the clutch. Granted, it's extremely hard snow, but you're still only throwing it perfect 30 feet. Now, if you get the perfect snow, you can throw it 80 to 100 feet. Like when we do a bridge decks, you get a little more. That's what we use it 99% for, is our bridge decks.
We're trying to borrow that for next week.
Troy just fixed it again this morning.
What do you take down on 22? What do you do down on 22? Were you part of that one? Yeah, what do you do?
Oh, that's one of them snow goes.
That's one of those snow goes. Okay, I'm trying to find a picture.
But everybody was apparently why doesn't Idaho County have one of those? Why doesn't Idaho County? I was like, that is not, no, that's not even
That's what the
that's the state doing.
Yeah, it's not Keokuk County, trust us.
So, okay, I'll make a little bit of notes on the snow blower and stuff. And also with that, everybody, we're trying, when the state is done with theirs, we're trying to maybe see if we can't borrow it. And everybody, if that does happen, thank Josh Humphreys up and down. He's the one that got notified of this or knew how to do it, and he's been working his tail off, trying to at least get us the opportunity to borrow and how we would. So I hope that if we're able to borrow, I hope we can find some use for it.
We got use for it.
Well, if it's, hopefully with the size, and last I heard, maybe Josh said we might get it for like 24 hours. The DOT is gonna have a driver, because they don't want us to do it.
Okay.
And it would go for 24 hours straight.
So when they go for 24 hours like that, it's a one lane, do you have to have like people?
We would
both
have,
lane?
yeah, we would work around some of our probably truck drivers or anything else. And we probably even throw a grader out there with them, maybe the grader could help shave off some of the stuff and the snow. Any sort of,
I just meant like blocking traffic.
yeah, we would have that too, right? So we would probably have a crew of 3 or 4.
Like they got on the road out there this morning, out there by Conroy, they had people on both ends while the end loader's pushing back.
So,
Probably 2 12-hour shifts.
yeah, some, or an overnight shift and then
Yeah.
regular
We-
shift.
So Nick, you're gonna research that more,
That's
right?
kind of what yours is.
Okay, that's
I'll
what I'm putting in the
research
minutes.
prices, yeah,
Okay.
and we'll reconvene this summer on it. So put that on the agenda for.
And ours does too, but it's just.
Okay.
Safety plan?
Safety action plan, that is the grant that the state submitted for 99 counties and got approved a couple years ago. Now there was a meeting about that last week. We should be getting, so a safety action plan for Iowa County is gonna be 200-page packet that essentially lies out all of our issues for all of our roads and everything in the county. And it's needed for more grants. So at some point, we are gonna have to have a meeting countywide of all the supervisors, all the emergency people, it's gonna be a big meeting that is led by the company that's writing the grant, writing the safety action plan. I forget their name. It's compound work. So we just kicked that off. There will be meetings ahead. V6 final change plans. Found out a little bit about HH Avenue, that bridge you guys had asked about. We closed it a while back. The structure is 48 feet long and has a drainage area of 6,400 acres. You asked about a little water crossing. Prairie Creek, any idea what that drains at that little water crossing area?
Probably about 400,000 acres.
It's a lot. It's 75,000 acres.
Yeah.
And so this one's only 6,400 at ours. So,
Put it in pretty cheap compared to a bridge. I've advocated low water crossing since I started.
right, no, I would agree. I'm
There's
not
gotta be ways to save money and still provide the services their citizens need.
It'd have to be a very, very low traveled road because of liability on unload
Just
crossings.
make it a level B, and it would be very low.
Plus, nobody's complained about it, has it?
No.
That tells me right there.
Yeah,
Nothing needs to be done.
yeah, nobody's complained.
So as of right now, I would just keep it the way it is. If we let it sit, and it might actually be too late, like we talked about last week, to ever use bridge funds for it, but I don't think you want to pay $500,000 to replace that bridge. If we ever did anything, it would be like what Alan's talking about, where what we would probably do is make some sort of our own bridge that that can be overtopped. So instead of like a 50-footer, we make it a 30-footer that is meant to be over flood, kind of like we have down on F, E or F out down by,
North English,
yeah.
built the EU one, that U road, the lady can get there.
Oh, that's actually a different one with culverts. We actually have a different one where there is a bridge with no guardrail that is meant to be over top.
Southwest of Lindbergh,
Mhm.
where that stupid crook in the road is.
There's one out north of Maringo too, on dirt level, LB road.
This is a gravel road even.
It's gravel, it might be a level B though.
You call it level B, yeah, but it's gravel.
So we have 2 known low water crossings in this county. Now that can push 75,000 acres of water and they can use that at Prairie Creek. But we can't do something for 6,400 acres and save money and still open the roads. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I'm saying that we probably can do something. Our main thing right now is if we let it sit any longer, we can never use bridge funds.
Okay,
And we don't want to use bridge funds,
No.
in my opinion. So, but in the future, if we want to look into do it when we get enough complaints, if you want to do something, we might be able to make it work. As of this point in time, I would say, since we're not getting any complaints, we go ahead and take care of our ones that are currently about ready to close and let this one be just the way it is.
leave it alone for the time being.
Yes. Because either we could reopen that one back up where nobody's complaining, or we would have to shut down others.
Okay, so let me drive one point home then, because this is, like I said, I've advocated for this since day one. If we do start receiving complaints on that road, you would not be opposed to researching putting in a low water crossing for 6,400 acres.
It wouldn't necessarily, it would be a bridge, that is meant to overflow,
Okay,
probably, is what I would guess.
which is still what you would consider a low water crossing.
A low water crossing bridge, would be my guess.
Okay,
And it would take, then it would have to get into the 5-year plan. And at that point, we would decide, we do the survey on it. At that point, we would decide whether or not we would do culverts or a bridge.
okay.
The other one, at that point, we would decide.
Thank you. That's what I needed to make sure I understood. Okay.
But at this point, if you decide to do that, it kind of means we cut out a different project.
Yep.
411, you asked about the 411 out here, the speed limits.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got the notes, and I'll give them to you. What happened was, I came into town one day and noticed that there were new speed limit signs. The city of Maringo, back in 2017, 2018, they had 3 readings on it. Their final reading was January 24th, 2018. They did ordinance number 455. They set speed limits. They're the ones that set the different speed limits for the different sides of the road.
Okay.
I clarified that with the chief and told him.
So
City made that decision.
2 weeks later, we went ahead and we did our own resolution too, because we actually own the one half of the road.
Okay.
That matched the city of Maringo. They kept ours at 55.
You match the city of Marengo. The city of Marengo is,
No, what they did a resolution for both sides, is what he's saying, and so then we just did a resolution to do what they
We
want.
intentionally changed that so you didn't have to go 45 all the way to the bridge. We took away the gradual, so once you're going north,
okay.
Which
you go 55 once you pass it.
Which they had no authority to do, so you guys came in and did a resolution.
And you've
It was
relayed,
all good, it's all good.
so you've relayed this to the chief of police,
Yeah,
and he has no concern then with the speed limit?
it's not his concern. I mean, the city made the decision. We had a chief at the time.
Whoever, Galen.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is a dead issue.
as far as I'm concerned, well, as long as it's legal to have speed limit different going one way than the other.
which makes no sense to me, but
Which I believe.
That's the only question, I don't know the
Well, I
legality.
think
I don't either,
the
but I
safety
believe it
factor
is. I
coming
think I've
in
seen
town
Slowing people
is
down.
different than the safety factor going out of town.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's probably what your decision was based on. So
Yeah.
you're coming into town, you're coming into the
you need
ballparks,
to
ball
slow down.
fields,
Yep, yep.
and so that's a gradual slowdown to get you, going out of town, you're past the ballparks, right?
Yeah, I mean.
About
it's not something
150 yards you are.
Yeah.
So you go from, what is it, 35 or 25 to 55,
Yeah,
right by a ball field with 200 kids out there. I mean,
not
You
till
can't
after
go
you get
55
you
till you
can't
get
go
to the
55
sun.
until after.
people see that 100 yards away, they're accelerating.
Well, that's Bacon's law, it's not our.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't remember which council member, I don't know if this is, because when I heard it at your meeting, I was like, I was mayor when that passed. I know the city changed that, but she came to you guys first instead of us.
So what's the resolution say that they can make the decision?
No, they wrote a resolution to slow people coming in and going out of town, that it could go, you go 55. And so since our road is kind of shared there, we just did a resolution on our
Oh,
app
gotcha.
with the exact same verbiage that they had. So that you guys were essentially aware of the situation and you're okay.
my copy.
Sure. Sure.
I can make copies.
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you.
moving on.
Okay, donation of sick time. I have a quick question about that. The union contract for the local union 238, which is secondary roads, does not mention, I don't believe mentions gifting of sick leave, but our county handbook does. Can the union members gift sick leave to each other then? It doesn't say in their union contract, but.
My understanding is that the handbook is the policy unless it's differentiated in the union contract.
I just want to make sure because.
Yeah,
I want to, again, make note that it was all mentioned here because I don't want it to be a point of
Contention.
Yep.
no, it's just like the public health department, they have their subset of policies that, override ours if they're different, but if there's no mention of it in there, you're fine.
That's what I figured, so we will allow them to gift each other sick leave.
You can give sick leave in policy, man.
That's what I'm referencing, is that it's in there, but it's not in the union contract. And as far back, I looked in 2007, I don't think it was in there then either.
I know we've done it.
2011, I believe, was the last time.
Yeah,
And if somebody wants to, I'll write up a memo that they can sign in order to do that. I just wanted to make sure that you'd probably be seeing that.
Okay.
One last thing that I wanted to, or two last things. They're gonna start the big power poles on 305th Street, down in Green Township.
yeah,
And so,
what's the final decision on that?
we approved that permit a couple years ago.
They're just gonna go in as is in our right of way, right?
Yep, and they're saying everybody refused to give up easements peacefully. And so we had them take the poles from where they were at and somehow they were miraculously able to move them back another 4 or 5 feet.
Okay.
So that was the big compromise is
Okay.
they all got moved back, but they're still within the right of way. And, so they're gonna go in and start to cut down brush. And.
In that tree,
Yeah, and I told them, they asked, do we need landowners' consent? And I said, I'm not giving you consent, I will talk to the board. And they said, well, what about for minor brush? And I was like, if you can find it, I suppose right now, you can probably cut it down, the minor brush. But I wanted to make you guys aware because that they are gonna start, so this is gonna fire back up.
Is there somebody's tree that they like in our right of way?
Yeah, there's a specific one.
There's
right
a
outside.
one specific tree. Now, this other brush that they want to cut, they say is smaller, but again, the adjacent landowner, these adjacent landowners did not sign off. And now, so that means they're not happy with the whole project. And now these people are getting brushed in the ditch. There's gonna be a point of contention there. So,
We're on 300. It's going down 305th?
Yeah, they're dragging over to get to,
from S Avenue to the county line.
East side, yeah. What is it, Johnson?
Alan and I and Nick held a disgruntled landowners meeting down there in Parnell when they were first proposing this. We just didn't, there's no really, we have no options. The IUB says do it and they can either sign off on it or put it in our right of way. So,
Yeah, they're very big power poles that are going in the ditch, and they marked them out. A lot of the landowners were concerned, well, if I drive, my daughter drives off the road, I'm driving into this power pole. We don't want that. And so we held the meeting and said, try to give an easement then, so the power poles can be back behind the field. Well, they didn't want that either, so they would rather have them in the ditch. We tried to bring everyone together.
yeah. It went okay, but yeah.
So just to let you know, I'm gonna tell them that they cannot cut down that tree, because I don't know where that tree's at. They're gonna have to get the landowner's permission. And smaller brush, probably less than 4 inches in diameter, within the right of way, they're allowed to cut.
Isn't that tree in the road right away there?
It
Or
looks
if
like
it's
a profile.
for me to make that call.
Okay,
I am not making that call.
okay.
It's close enough, you're gonna need a licensed surveyor to find that out.
Okay.
The new office building, so if you guys chose or where, they're gonna be polished concrete floors in there. The guy from Garland the other day was maybe talking to one of my guys, sure you wanna polish concrete floor? It's gonna be halfway expensive. Would you rather just put down a floor?
What kind of force?
I don't know. That's gonna be up to you guys then to talk to Garland and see what the options are, what the costs are. But he
You're
said,
saying that polishing the concrete's gonna be more than putting a floor down?
So in the lab part, it's not gonna be polished, right?
no, I don't know. You guys made the plans. I don't know. I don't know.
It was not my building in the first place.
I don't like the idea of a concrete floor in there to begin with, which would be clear, but
How big is it?
the whole building, well, I believe it's 60 by 40 plus the garage area. I believe, I'm not,
I think you could easily have 20,000 wrapped up in the floor.
what's it for the polished concrete?
Sure, we have it over here. We can look into it later. Probably have it in all my
I
notes.
think though, at least when Garland comes up and says, are you sure this might be better off? I think you guys should at least go listen, entertain the idea.
You wanna contact John Michon, Helen?
Looks like he's on it now, probably.
That's how I'm typing to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
You don't forget you're handling phone calls on there yet.
Yeah. And handle a lot of phone calls. I think that's what I was doing most of the week.
You can email me those bids.
You got it.
But thank you very much, Nick.
Just a bit forms.
Yeah, just a bid forms, yeah.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Nick, good job, great job to you guys, you and your
Yes.
guys, thank you. Along with our EMA, EMS, everybody that's involved out there.
Let me know if you want me to go over to the building for that floor or what you want my guys or crew to do.
Down here, so yes.
But at least entertain the idea.
I gotta wait a ways.
Okay. I just thought maybe.
Marilyn thought she was, Marilyn thought she was gonna be addressed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, they asked me if I
This
could
will
come
only
in
be
at
a half
11,
hour.
I said, no, I
Okay, wait a minute. You want to just get yours done quick?
Yeah.
Just do it soon. Is that okay?
Well, if we got Eric, I mean, what's that gonna take?
He's waiting for the sheriff.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this in 3 minutes.
Sheriff said he'd be.
3 minutes. All right, where's my time?
Sheriff said he'd be here at
Send-
10:30.
Wait till it gets to the stuff. Okay. I was hired in 1985 to be Director of Social Services for Iowa County, and I accepted. And every year until 2014, rumors would start that DHS was going to take over the mental health system. And they obviously they never did, but they are now. You're going to be. They had an agency called HMA, Health Management Associates, come in and assess the current mental health system that we're running with our regions, which you're familiar with. And the assessment says people don't know how to get services, the health outcomes are not satisfactory, there's a lot of duplicating in administration. So they're going to move from our current regions, which I don't know, was it 14, John, or something, down to 7 districts. And I do have a map that will show you the districts. I apologize that it's not in color. So I better make my 3 minutes. I'm trying to leave my personal opinion out of this. The alignment,
Did you
not
want this one
realignment.
back?
No, I want Kevin to have that now for you. Through alignment, it will ensure that Iowans have consistent health and human services. They'll use the funding more effectively, and it will streamline the contracting and administration. That part I do somewhat agree with, because right now, of course, every region has an administrative office, and there's 14. They did 7 town halls, what's working, what's broken. They did 35 stakeholder interviews, 3,000 surveys, and 7 roundtables that made them come to this conclusion. And also the fact that there's too much money in the incentive fund, there's like 23 million, and they see that it's just sitting there and not being used for services. Under this new plan, all Iowans will have the same services no matter where they are, and it will eliminate the duplicating services. Obviously, this will take new legislation, but I'm quite sure it'll be passed because this is what the governor wants done. You'll see on the map that, we're currently in with Benton, Dubuque, Delaware, Iowa, Buchanan, Bremer, Dubuque, and this would put Iowa and Johnson in with the lower tiers of counties in this new district. The role that counties will play at the most would be to be on an advisory committee to the new district. So we're really out of
So we're seeing a pattern here. It's correctional services did the same thing.
education.
They're first, and now they're trying ADA, same thing.
This will be as of like July 1st, you think then?
Pardon me?
Be as of July.
They're saying 2025,
So,
want it up and running.
so then we won't be contributing anymore, per se?
We weren't contributing.
No.
Well, and but, when we went to regions, the governing board was all board of supervisor members, which is as it should be.
Which had changed last year.
And then last year it changed when they wanted a broader perspective, and now you're out. You might be able to be on an advisory board.
Similar to correctional services.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll leave my opinion out of it.
Well, thanks for the.
I hope you.
She had to read like 900 pages to condense that.
It was
I
all
wish
right.
you'd give us your
She's on recording.
I think all you have to do is compare bureaucracy to grassroots administration. That's all I'm gonna say.
opinion.
I just copied this, so you would know where to go if you wanna, it's Friday, so you can spend your Friday night reading all about it.
I think some things that may happen is it may save some funds, but it may cut some jobs. But it's also gonna take a lot of the decision-making to Des Moines, not to the regions. And you're gonna find that some of these areas where this is happening at, our regions have different needs than what Des Moines knows. We may not have the same mental health needs in Sioux City that we have in Dubuque, or that we have in Algona, Iowa, or that we have here in Ringo, Iowa. But it might be a complete success, I mean, and save a lot of money. There is a lot of money that just sits.
The problem we've had over the years is, and our providers, the providers of services, it was just so hard to communicate at the state level. They just, well, I'm not gonna say anymore, you know how I feel. I hope it's wonderful, I hope it's the best thing that ever happened.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hope Peacock doing well?
He,
How
for
short
the
are you?
first,
How
he
short are
hasn't had to
you?
go to the hospital for 5 weeks, and that's a first, so,
I'll pray for him.
thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Marilyn, thanks for what you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, man.
You,
Thanks for getting ready. Good. She said you had to get full.
there you go.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yeah, we'll take easy now.
Easy.
Red hot,
Yeah, red hot.
red hot. Not just red,
I know.
not just red.
So, Cappers got a hold of me this week, went down, looked at this pickup. Very nice pickup, it's what we want, what I want. They're gonna give us $10,000 for the old Ford with the plow, which is a pretty good deal. All around, it's a pretty good deal in my eyes. I don't know how you guys feel.
I mean, let's see how many miles are on
Should have, shouldn't
You would think.
It has 22,000 miles.
it? Oh,
Will this come out of this year's budget yet?
Because the last meeting, if I remember everything right, we were trying to get it just bought and not do it every year.
Yeah. Until we have an equipment fund, it just,
Because we don't, 35,000 for a pickup like that's a pretty good deal in my opinion.
yeah,
Is it diesel or gas?
34,995.
Gas.
I rounded.
3/4 ton.
Yep.
Going into next year's budget, we won't be able to afford it the way it's shaping up.
Do you have
So
money in
if
your
we're gonna
budget
do it,
right
we
now?
gotta do it this year's budget or table it.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably buy it in this year's budget.
Well, just your part-time employee part that's been budgeted for this year would cover half that.
Right.
That we don't do. And we cut that out of next year, so that fat's gone already. So I would say if anything, we should do it this year.
That's the only way.
Did you make that as a motion?
Yeah, I did.
Somebody want to second it?
I'll second
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The color red hot.
Opposed, say nay.
Hold on. Discussion, please.
it. It's this year's budget, right?
Out of this year's budget, he's got building maintenance has, what, 20,000 already budgeted for an employee that we don't use. We haven't used for
And then I
years.
have 10 grand in the motor vehicle fund.
Yeah, see there, you're almost there.
I know so discussion, Mr. Chairman, I know that cappers are the only vehicle, the only dealership in Iowa County, basically. Are we handcuffed to search neighboring counties?
It's been the past processes to stay local.
Right, so Lordstown, Belle Plaine,
Out of county, so that's.
I know they are. It's just,
Right now, if you search for a 2,500, good luck.
I've looked, I'm for where it is. But I guess I'm just concerned about our policy. I understand supporting a local county tax, and I'm all in favor of it. It's concerning, but again,
I've
we're handcuffed,
I've looked north and there isn't one up there.
okay? So,
So I guess, do you think we should have a
more than one,
comparable bid?
we need to have more than one bid for a basically a $45,000 deal. So we're giving up 10,000 in an asset and spending 35. Why are we not getting a second bid?
How do you get a bid on a used vehicle?
Or comparable?
This
Or
is-
a comparable.
This
Well,
is-
you know, I just want to keep this thing above board.
Or if you can't find a comparable?
Well, I feel like, don't we use cappers for pretty much everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with Capper. I
Because
support them, but
That's
it's
been
just,
our process in the past, is to keep it in county when we can keep it in county. To support the people that are paying our taxes.
absolutely.
So that is,
It's just concerning.
It wasn't the only Chevy, did you check, I think they checked with Waynesburg and Ford.
I mean, this is the only,
It's the same dealership. I mean, it's just like the V66, you know, we got Wendling, Pelling, and everybody's all owned by the same company.
Right.
And again, we're handcuffed.
What does Nick do? He usually buys new vehicles, right?
Right.
Does he get bids on those or?
Gets them through, I think it just gets through campers, I don't think we bid out of the county.
I
We,
don't
we
know
get,
how-
we get government bids on those when we go new.
yeah, you can only get a government bid if it is new.
If it is new, you don't get a government bid on
And
it.
trying to find a new single cab 2500 is impossible.
And Dylan, I'm not putting your feet to the fire. I'm not questioning your judgment. You were asked to go do this, but I just want the board to recognize, do we have an issue?
I personally would like to see it be paid for or be bought from somewhere in the county.
Yeah,
And-
somebody's paying our taxes.
Exactly. I'm all in favor of it, but I want to be above board.
Do we don't have more than one
That's the only dealer we have.
dealer.
That's the only one we got. So discussion withdrawn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
Congratulations.
Thanks. You want
Now you'll stick out with your
And you want me to
sore thumb.
send a new pickup truck for building maintenance, or used pickup truck for building
I could
maintenance
maybe
for
see like a
34,995
policy change just
out
to
of this year's budget, right?
not purchase out of county, but just to
Within a region.
check and balance.
What's on that?
I mean, there might be people that might be 6 miles, work 6 miles north, I get it, but, you know, they still live in Iowa County too. You know, I don't know, it's just,
Well, I think the business being in Iowa County does make a big
it
difference.
makes a great, big difference.
Yeah, they're paying.
If you guys want, the city has a policy
But it
to
doesn't
come up with
hurt
this
to
stuff, so
check.
if you wanna reach out to Carla,
Yeah.
and give you copy of ours.
To say, hey, I can get this.
We'll do local if it's within 5%, otherwise we'll go up. We have a policy on it, to keep them honest. So
Right.
we have a policy.
Yeah, if you want to send that.
Reach out to Carla.
I'm very shocked.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. That way it's a policy and
I mean, cause we
we're
got,
not making an individual decision every
I
single
mean,
time.
it's not so much vehicles, but like mowers and that kind of stuff. So we get bids, and if local is less than 5% higher, we'll keep it local. 5%, you know, if it's not, then we'll go to,
15%.
yeah. Then we'll go to Iowa City, wherever.
Do you allow local to change?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that would be depend on the, I guess, how you put the bid out, whether it's lower or not.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, one great job keeping everything cleared up out
We don't
there.
usually have a problem,
Thank you.
but we have the same discussion you guys are having, like, should we got another bid? We have a way to still keep it local, even if, you know, somebody in Iowa City was
3 of them on
2% less.
on Kelly's Blue Book.
What'd you say?
3 of them on Kelly's Blue Book, the same pickup. This one had 79,000, 37,500, 68,000 miles for 44,500, 56,000 for 46,000, so.
Seems like we're right in line.
Well,
Or
this one,
less.
you got 22,000 on this.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know.
Adam, I'm gonna CC you on this email, Carl.
Thank you guys and your crew for
Yes.
being out for this storm.
We survived. There was a couple people that couldn't get to work. And it wasn't the ones that lived in Iowa City or Cedar Rapids, it was the ones on our gravel roads. We got them out eventually. Again, one of them, that 190th must be bad all the way across the county.
Oh, yeah.
One guy lives over on corner of W, and we had 190th. He was stuck in for a while. I mean, we had snowmobiles that couldn't get him in. We were that desperate. We just found
I
another.
had one QRS person didn't get to a call because her husband got 2 vehicles stuck in the front yard, so.
What did we do that?
We tried.
But yeah, we made it through. We had people come in early the night before sometimes, or stay the next day, so that helped staff an extra truck sometimes to get through the whole thing. But quite a storm for sure. We didn't have to call out roads overnight or anything for ambulance, I know, sheriff might have. I think we made it through. I got a ear infection, my ear's muffled, so talking too loud or too quiet. December calls, we had 165 dispatch calls, 138 of those were billable, 27 refusals. So for the fiscal year, we've had 993 dispatch calls, 803 billable, 190 refusals. So current average is 165.5 calls per month compared to 147.42 last fiscal year. There was 24 times where both Ringo and Williamsburg units were busy at the same time. And then why they were busy, there were 4 times we covered calls with our units, 9 times we had to request out of county units.
And this is in the month.
That's in the month of December, yeah.
So like the third unit call was 4, the request for out of county. Would that kind of mean like 5 of those were when the third unit wasn't staffed?
Not exactly. Yet some of them are, but there was one day we staffed the third unit and we had another call. Keokuk County had to take a call in North English, and East Powashik got to take a call in Victor.
Okay.
So we had 5 ambulance calls within, a short time frame. So yes, most of the time it's that case, but there was a time that we were on a third unit call and they had to page 2 out of county units to get there. And then there was another time, I think this was before the snowstorm, but I can't remember. It was in January, I think, so not on here, but there was a call at Highland Ridge and Williamsburg, and Johnson County didn't have a truck available. Evan was available, he was on first responders, but he didn't have a partner, so we had one of the first responders drive. He called me, like, yeah, they can drive. And so they drove him to the hospital. He took care of the patient. So we had that happen too. And then,
And that, you're discussing that today too, right?
yeah, I was gonna bring that up, we can discuss that, just if that happens, if we wanna pay them a stipend or not. I think it'd be nice to offer them something. They also ride along sometimes if there's like a cardiac arrest or something, or we need an extra hand in the back. We pulled stats as best we could. It looks like 11 times in the last year we've had a first responder ride along. We have money in our backup staffing budget to pay that if we want to pay them a small stipend. I don't know, $25 a call or something. We could limit it to 20 times a year or something if we didn't want to make sure we didn't go.
And if you need it, you need it.
Yeah, so I don't think it'd happen a lot. It'd just be nice to recognize them with something. They're giving up their, when they just go on a call as first responder, it's usually half hour or less and they're done. Get on the ambulance call, it could be 2 hours for you to get back to doing what you were doing. So it was just a thought I had. As busy as we get, it happens more often.
Ken, for tracking wise, can you track how many transports you do a month from the hospital?
Yeah, I can track them per year, so I can track them.
Okay, thank you. I think I'd like to see what that is.
That should be easy because we have it set up to pull for a year. We can just change the date.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Finance wise, December actual expenses, $160,700 compared to our budget of expenses of $192,052. Year-to-date actual expenses, $1,054,362 compared to our budget of $1,152,362. Currently, we're sitting $97,950 under budget. Below that, I noted, I always try to remind the board, when we're in the year, we're not buying an ambulance, that we budgeted for half an ambulance. So our target is to be at least $133,000 under budget, because that needs to go carry over for the next year. So we're right on track, everything's good there. December revenue was up $123,674. Year to date, revenue is $560,612 compared to a budget of $522,250. So revenue is over budget right now by $38,362. Difference between our actual expenses, actual revenue, $493,750. If we look at what we budgeted for expenses versus budgeted revenue, $630,112. So right now, between the budget, expenses being under budget and revenue being over budget, we got a $156,362 positive impact at the end of December on the budget. Year-to-date average charge, these don't change much. Year average charge per transport, $1,124 compared to the average revenue of $668. Our cost per dispatch call, $1,061 versus cost per actual transport or billable, $1,313.03. Any questions on the financial stuff? Satisfaction, you guys get the survey, that's 97.6%. I mean, December, the holidays, there wasn't a whole lot of activities. Most of the preparedness stuff didn't have meetings. Just regular deposits, claims, scheduling stuff. I did follow up yesterday with the assistant accounting attorney, and he kind of forgot about the offset. He's putting it back on his top priority to finish that offset program and follow up with the state so we can get that going. Because I gotta have, if that all gets approved, we probably got 400 entries to put into the system, so it's gonna take a while. So Evan's gonna be busy. Going, but hopefully that'll bring in some money. Hopefully we get that going before income tax season here, so we can get on some of those returns. We're having a simulation Iowa training January 25th. It's the state, I think, has 3 trucks, one on the west side of the state, one in Des Moines, one over in Swisher, this side of the state. But it's a big truck. It has a simulation lab for ER in it and a simulation lab for ambulance in it. And I suppose a control room. I haven't actually been in it yet, but they come out with a instructor or whatever and go through simulations. They have real sophisticated mannequins and all that stuff. So because it's rural Iowa, they had a rural training grant. It ain't gonna cost us anything. So we're gonna be doing that January 25th. We're gonna do it in Williamsburg at Josh's building down there, since it's kind of a separate location. People go through in groups of 6 or teams of 6. So we're starting at 3 and we're going till 7, 8 o'clock at night. We'll have multiple teams go through. So it should be good training for us.
That'd be like all your paramedics.
Yeah, I've tried,
QRS.
as many as I can get there. Be there. We've probably got half a dozen first responders that have signed up. They're still willing to sign up. It's hard to get first responders out to training anymore. We don't have many to begin with, but, well, I mean, there's probably 40, but.
I'd love to come and observe, but
Yeah, stop by. I'm saying it's an hour, I mean, it's hour session, so they don't have to be there the whole time. But yeah, if you're around, come by.
wow,
Okay.
I'd love to be there.
But I'll try, maybe I can probably take some pictures and stuff.
That'd be great.
But if you can look it up online, Simulation Iowa, and it'll show you pictures of all this stuff. Much of our tax money probably pays for it, so you might as well get some good out of it, so. And then talk about that, we are gonna, for the last 40 years, we've had our countywide EMS training meeting every month or every other month in Marengo. Attendance is down, and a lot of the people that come are from Williamsburg or North English. And most of the ambulance crew that comes are the ones that are on duty. So we're gonna try to start hosting those at Josh's classroom. Starting with the Simulation Iowa, see if that improves anything, but it'll just be a more central location. We don't have a training room in our Williamsburg garage, so anytime we want to train in Williamsburg, we have to have it at the fire station, which was fine. Just had to be really careful because, we didn't own any of that. So I think having the EMA office and training room down there, try to make some use of that. We'll see how that works. And then we'll have our annual EMS Saturday where we bring instructors in for like 7-8 hours of education. March 2nd. That will be at the fire station just because there's about 40 people that usually attend that. So
Williamsburg,
Williamsburg, the big classroom at the fire station. We'll have 40 people in our EMS association will provide like lunch that day. We'll use some grant money to pay for the instructors and stuff like that. We usually get a couple of physicians out and different EMS experts. We'll have some local instructors, but we try to bring some people in, different people that they don't always get to hear all the time. And then I guess we had disaster planning exercise on the 4th. The next disaster exercise this year will be an active shooter at Iowa Valley training. So if you hadn't heard that already from Josh or somebody else.
No, what's the date of that?
Oh, it'll be sometime in October. We don't have it. The school has to set the date. But we go through each school district, one school district a year, and this rotation is Iowa Valley. So last year we did North English.
Right. Year before was Williamsburg. I've
Yeah.
never seen it in the paper.
Yep.
Okay.
Attended radio governance meeting on the 16th. I don't think there was anything in there that really passed along. John wasn't there. He missed his first meeting.
I was waiting for the reminder.
Equipment vehicles, just pretty much for team maintenance. We got a couple blanket warmers that we got to replace. They're kept underneath one of the seats. They're just a cigarette lighter plug-in, just like a pizza warmer basically. But they've wore out, so I got a couple new ones ordered. Personnel, we got 2 employees currently on medical leave. One should be coming back in February. The other one will be back till April. We'll be on maternity leave, so. That's it for my main report. Circle back around to the stipend for first responders. I didn't know if you guys, I'm not asking for any approval today. I'd have to put it in the policy and stuff. I just wanted your kind of discussion about it, think about it. If I should spend the time to actually put it in the policy. If it's a no, I don't want to waste.
I think if it's in your budget, you should develop a policy, because we're using them as an employee, essentially not.
Yeah, I mean, we just be a 1099 employee.
Yeah, only if they got over 600.
Yeah, they would.
No.
Is $25 seem appropriate for a run?
How long on the average do you think they would be there time-wise?
Most of the time when they're going, it's probably going to Compass because it's either something really bad, or we're in a backup status and we need to get that ambulance freed up. So hour and a half. I would say 40.
Yeah, either like 40 one time or $25 per starting hour.
I was just doing it like a
For one
trip,
time,
but-
that makes less keep
Yeah,
maintenance and keeping track.
yeah, and I just keep,
Compromise, make it 30.
yeah, that's fine. And then we just probably pay about once a year or something. I don't, probably the simplest way to do it. I just keep track of it. That's what a lot of volunteer services will do. They'll give their crew a stipend, however much it is, and then once a year.
So that'd be paid through claims.
Yeah, I just turn it in an invoice form probably. If we did it that way, just like I do sometimes when somebody teaches for us, I have that invoice like template, I can just make it an
As
invoice.
long as it's not over $600, it should be
Yeah.
fine.
Mhm.
If it was over 600, we'll just get the paper.
If it's over 600, I think we have a real problem.
Yeah, I don't.
Give them an application.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of these people don't, well, yeah, they just want to volunteer, but they're willing to do it sometimes. The last one happened in the evening. Actually, I think Sarah took the next call. That one happened like at 5 o'clock. There was a shift change at 6. But Evan had Heather Conrad drive. But I will work on that and bring that back next time we meet. I guess I'll
I know like a lot of counties that have volunteer ambulances, they have guys that are just ambulance drivers,
Yeah,
but they get paid probably per call, I'm
Yeah.
sure, so.
I didn't ask around, I mean, I could ask, like, Mindy is large town to see, I mean, I know,
I think you got a handle on it.
yeah, I'm sure, I think if they're still probably getting paid around $25 a call. Safety wise, we started a new quarter, so I had to get drug screen, we do drug screen, schedule them every quarter, got that going. December, there was no injuries. January, you guys were all copied on the email, but there was 2 strain backs from public health. Those weren't recordable, they were all treated self-treatment, first aid, so that doesn't make a OSHA report. I do have an OSHA 300 report I need to post by 1st of February, and as soon as Sarah gives me some information, she's kind of busy.
I know where to find one of it, but I don't know where to find the wages, so.
We'll get that next week.
Yeah.
Is Brandy back next week too?
Yeah, Brandy and Cindy. So I know the employees, I just don't know hourly
Yeah,
wages,
no,
like
that's
totally
fine,
hourly
so-
wages.
But I'm not, I just want to tell them, so that's, I'll post it now. Well, Brandy posted, I don't know, Brandy's the one who made me aware of this, that we needed to do this. I got the form. We'll get that posted by the deadline. So. HIPAA, kind of regret a little bit agreeing to do that, but it's a work in progress. It's not going to be so painful for those like ambulance, public health who have already had to do it their whole careers, but.
It's easy, it took me 5 minutes.
Yeah, you just get some pushback. So we're gonna have to work on and get a countywide policy. I have a template, just put stuff in there. Part of that is identifying which departments are required to do it, which ones aren't. So I think our easiest way is to do a hybrid entity where we identify the departments that are required under HIPAA and the ones that aren't. I think we'd have to be careful as long as, say the treasurer doesn't need HIPAA. We gotta maybe make sure the treasurer can't get into access anything at the auditor's office that would have protected health information. If they can, then the treasurer's gonna have HIPAA. So I gotta have some of those conversations. And part of that will be doing our risk assessment to find out some of that stuff.
'Cause we have to do the HIPAA training as.
You should
all of us
too,
do.
if you're accessing anything, with protected health information, you should.
All of us kind of end up knowing like workman's comp kind of
Yeah.
things, and
Is it all, is some of it on the computer? Is some of it, yeah, you better know.
so, I did
I mean,
mine.
if it was hard copy, you could probably get by with just the confidentiality policy. It's simpler just to follow all the different rules and be protected. Some of the fines get into millions of dollars and stuff. But the training, it's not that bad. It's just something new to some departments, so. We'll have to get some business associate agreements. Again, there's templates for that, for legal solutions. Whoever else provides stuff for us. There's insurance companies, and then we'll need some kind of privacy notice. We have one for the ambulance we get out, but we'll need a countywide privacy notice for anybody that wants it. Right, hand out to our employees.
Yeah, when you do insurance renewal and all that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, give me some time, we'll get that up and running, but. That's all I got. Sure.
When did we start charging for lift assist? Was that
Oh, yeah,
starting
I forgot to bring
first
that
of
up.
the year?
We haven't actually charged for it yet.
We haven't?
No.
Will you be able to provide on your spreadsheet an additional column for lift
Yeah,
assist?
I actually I put it on hold until we had further discussion on it.
Okay, because we have received some concern concerning charging county residents for lift assist, unsolicited email to us, and I respect his opinion, and I just wanted to make sure we're tracking it.
Yeah, so I meant to add that, I guess that's quick. We hadn't actually ever charged, and it got brought up a couple weeks ago. I asked Evan if we charged for any, and he said no. I said, well, don't charge for any yet until I have further discussion with the board. So I just forgot to put it on my notes here.
So what do you want to do?
Well, I don't have it on the agenda, but I was thinking we would either do, if they call more than once in 30 days or more than once in 60 days, then they would get a charge. So if it's just, they just called once, it don't happen again for 60 days, start over. A
So
little more record
would
keeping.
you like to make that decision, or would you like to maybe have a meeting with the other EMS department heads, like the sheriff, the two chiefs of police?
I mean, we can, I don't know, I don't quite, I'm not sure why what it matters to them, what we charge. I mean,
Well,
I don't get, I'm not privy to when they charge or when they don't, I guess, I don't know.
I don't think they charge at all, right, Rob? But I think, so I'm kind of on the same bandwidth as you, Adam. We got a email from a law enforcement officer, you know, concerned that people are gonna go directly to the sheriff's office or to the police stations for getting up, and they're not trained to do it. And my line of thinking was, you know, even before we were charging, they were probably calling you guys if they weren't equipped to do it. And
Yeah,
so,
so before, most people think we charge for everything. So they are already calling law enforcement and say, we don't want an ambulance, we just want help up, right? Because they just assume the ambulance charges.
mhm.
The biggest problem is the ones that continually call us twice a week, twice
Because,
a month.
like, just from my understanding, I mean, I listen to the radio at home, but I don't take a lot of it in anymore since I'm not on the job, but, so the call comes in, and maybe it's different each time, because the call would go into the sheriff's office. Does normally an officer respond at first, or does the dispatcher just say, call the ambulance first, or does the officer go first, or do they both go?
It just depends if someone's available. Yeah, if we're available, we're there right away. If not, we may have to call someone.
So I think,
I would say you guys probably handle the one, probably handles 50 to 75% of it themselves before we even change them.
well, I mean, I think most of the law enforcement from the people I've talked to would be accepted to a 30-day, 1 to 30-day, or
Especially if they're given notice, you know, if you come and look at them and you give them this paper that says, okay, this is what happened next time, then they know at least.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
I think that'll. So I agree now that there probably would need to be a meeting.
Yeah. But we haven't done it yet, so.
So maybe, bring that next month too.
Yeah, we'll put something on the agenda. Well, I mean, you can do it.
Or we could do it next week even.
Yeah, so I just made an executive decision to put it on hold right now. Your decision was to bill for it.
Based on your recommendation.
Yeah, based on my recommendation, but till you guys could
I mean,
rethink.
if you feel more comfortable researching it more, that's fine. With me.
I mean, when I talked to billing company, but half the ambulance companies bill for refusals, that just says half of them don't. Some will do it if it's multiple calls in a month. Like
So some companies bill for refusals,
Yeah,
and then the insurance won't pay for a refusal, right?
so we bill for refusals if we give you medication or we use bandages, something where we use supplies. Because there's so for example, a lot of diabetics, we go out, we give them the glucose, start the IV, give them the glucose, get their blood sugar up, they're good to go. They sign a refusal, we go on our way. But insurance don't pay for that, so they get a bill. Not the full bill, they get a $125 bill.
Are most of your refusals on a fender bender, or there's a lot of refusals where you respond to a call to a residence, that the residence?
I would say
called?
more of them to residents, probably,
Really?
yeah.
I'd be leery of charging for refusals, because some of these elderly population would be hesitant to call an ambulance if they got charged the time before, but if they're refusing, why are they calling an ambulance?
Well, not always them calling, it's family member calling or a friend calling, thinking they need to take you out or something. Not necessarily the individual calling. But we can add it to the agenda next time I come. Like I said, we haven't built for any of it yet, so I just There might be one circumstance, when I had, 2 weeks ago, there wasn't any that had even happened that we could bill for, so.
Well, I thought it was just an opportunity to bring up the discussion since we passed.
No, I'm glad you did, I meant to have it on my list.
Yeah, no, that's fair,
Let's
but
bring it up, let's have it on the agenda the next.
Yeah,
Next time you come, that'll give you time to research.
there are eyes on it. So, and anytime you change things, it's always going to be something, so I appreciate your efforts on it.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else for Adam?
Thanks a lot, Adam.
All right, thank you.
Nice job staying safe and getting people in and out this last week. It's been tough.
Yeah.
You need a restroom break.
We can do the sheriff first. That way,
How long that's gonna take?
yeah, we can do it. It's fine. I've only had 2 big things but I'll be,
Right there.
I'll be okay.
Take care, Adam. You didn't let no grass grow under your feet on this deal, did you?
He's proved it. It's later, he's back this time.
No second. Don't screw it up.
That's what I'm asking.
Don't screw it up.
Signature of seller.
Well, that has to have payroll.
Oh. If you screw it up, we gotta get your title. And then you might have second thoughts. Hey. Print it, name is silver.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good night, everyone. Have a good one right now.
Yeah.
I've got to see you for a long time.
I know.
Like a haircut, I know what a pretty about is, so.
Go easy on
Bronco work during stuff,
Seems it's funny you asked that.
way to break it out.
No, I just had a relative do the John Deere. Actually, he was kind enough to come over to that, was on twice.
Well, thank you and your guys for being out there. This has been a hell of a storm to have to work.
Oh, we just love them, you know that.
I know that, yeah. I was drinking coffee, saying some prayers for you guys, so, and you guys too, so.
Coffee in the morning, and then what?
Yeah, what was in the coffee?
That was after how many hours of running the snow blower? I never ran my snow blower more the whole time I've owned it than I did last week.
Gee, I used to get 1 tank for the whole season, now I filled up twice.
If I can't get it with a loaded bucket, it's not getting done.
Having secondary road keep the C road has made a huge difference.
Good.
I've heard the same thing multiple times. Pretty impressive.
No cars hit? None of yours?
In of ours, we have
Patrol
one
got
that had
one.
some bumper damage from being pulled out of a snow bank.
So the patrol one got hit at the 220 area?
Yeah, we didn't have any cars get hit.
2, I think, 2 patrol.
One of them was on, or we have video of it. Yeah, video. On interstate.
2 of them in this district got hit, I heard.
Coban still on? Is it Coban?
No, they're pulling some.
They had one this morning, yeah.
There's a couple like.
Or was it last night?
Pointing
Probably
Last night.
Yeah.
the wrong lane, pointing the other direction, you can't see it, I got over there.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how somebody does it, don't it?
Yeah, it's funny when you see the semis going the wrong way, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't see the cables down.
Right.
It's like, wow, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had asked Rob to come in because you initially emailed us about that. Obviously, our issue is covering our expenses because we're contracting 40 hours to 1 deputy to each of these towns, correct?
2 of the towns.
2 of the towns, Millersburg is less, right?
Millersburg, Parnell, Ladora are less.
Yeah. So Victor North English specifically, we're talking about accounting for our expenses for the 1 dedicated deputy that will be there.
So it's never a deputy, it's 40 hours.
Or whatever, yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. Yeah, but like when they call into dispatch, and anyway, they're getting 40 hours of a deputy being there.
Right.
Every week.
Yeah.
So obviously this is gonna be dependent on raises and what we give for that. And as of right now, I think we've had the preliminary, or I think I said that out in the email, even if I our budget isn't balanced right now, that's obvious, but even if we do 0% raises, it still doesn't fix our problem at all. So I think we're at least looking at what we have proposed for a third.
Right. And then the other question is, since previously we did 3-year contracts, which is a really good deal for the cities because they were locked in for 3 years. So, you know, we did that because we came very close to laying off the deputy when Victor didn't sign a contract for the first quarter of the year. And we actually got out of that mess because somebody had left, and so we didn't have to lay anybody off. But that's what we were trying to avoid with the 3-year contracts. You know, and maybe there's a better way to do that, you know, on the county side is that, you know, we build in some kind of increase for 3 years. It's really tough on the cities too to, you know, like right now, I imagine they're trying to get a budget done and there's this huge chunk that's sitting there open right now and they don't know what to do with it. So, you know, somehow to work together to where we can both be satisfied that our piece is covered and we're not throwing out too much county support. Because ultimately there's no question that the counties support law enforcement in the cities. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
We've never come that close to covering all of our costs. A lot of that comes in things that you just don't think about, like the equipment, the repairs, the training, the administrative costs. You know, they don't have to have an office. They don't have to have somebody dealing with payroll and all that stuff. There's a lot of things that just sort of in the shadows that you wouldn't know about. So there's no question that the county supplements that for the cities. Especially so when you talk about the 3 smallest towns. 3 smallest towns contracts have been stuck. I don't even know what they say. I just know it's as needed. Millersburg asked me to come down. They were concerned that, at least I would say one of the city council people was concerned they weren't getting enough out of their contract. Their contract was $1,600 and some dollars. At that moment, we had 90 calls for service in the city. So if you just did an hourly rate, you just came up with something. They got through their contract expenditures in the first couple of days of the year. So, and I know that the cities are in trouble. I understand all that. I think the counties are too, and I don't know where we come up with a place somewhere in the middle. The big thing that we got into with the cities in the past, at least the 2 that have what I consider the major contracts, is I can't hire part-time people. And if I don't have money that's enough to pay for help, money doesn't take the call, you know, a deputy does. So we've always held them to 40 hours because they've got a school district, they've got a bank, they've got going concerns with the business district and that. Can't really say that about the other small towns. They don't have schools, they don't have banks, they don't have much of a business district. Their calls for service are very small, but still there, no question, still there. So, you know, I don't know what the answer is. You know, maybe we come up with something for the first year with the idea that we work a little harder, you know, after this budget to figure out the next 2 years or something. I don't know. I know the cities are chomping at the bit, rightly so, to get their budgets done. So the sooner we get it to them, the better, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing steadily, we've been doing 3-year contracts.
Yeah, we started doing 3-year contracts, I think, in, I want to say somewhere around maybe 2010, I think we started.
Has there usually been a percentage raise?
No,
It
was just 3 years fixed.
But I mean, the next contract.
The next contract would come 3 years later, and we just took a snapshot of cost at that time, and that was the next 3 years.
So there was usually a raise.
Yeah, oh yeah, there was always a raise, yes. And it always is hard for the city to stomach it because it looks like such a big raise, but when you think about it, if you broke it up among 3 years, it's not.
Right. It'd be a nightmare to do a yearly contract every year, like you said.
Well,
It's nice to have the
Yeah.
3 years because you're there and you know.
right. And the cities know what they're doing. They can, without asking any questions, they know exactly what their law enforcement costs are for the coming year.
But we also have to recoup our expenses of,
Absolutely.
and
No question.
with the new, sheriff's union, our expenses went up quite a bit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Cause now they're tied to you, so those employees cost us more.
Well, and just, I mean, just look at everything. I mean, you couldn't pick 3 years where there were bigger increases. For the last 3 years, when it comes to everything from fuel to insurance, it just hasn't been, we haven't seen inflation like this before. Not since I've been an adult. So, it's 3 of the biggest years as far as costs go. No
Mhm.
question.
And it'd be tough to just max it out at those then and say that's what the next 3 years is gonna be, because maybe the costs do go down after an election year, or maybe it goes up after election year.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, it's the same, that's with the fuel, we just don't know what the future holds.
We do know the cost of the main cost, I would think personally, is probably the employee, their benefits,
Absolutely,
and the car.
absolutely.
And that's not going down.
In the car, just to give you an idea, 3 years ago, we were still able to get cars for around $23,000 and put $10,000 in for upfit. Now we're looking at $35,000 cars with $16,000 upfits. I mean, these have just been insane. I haven't been able to take delivery of a car locally in 2 years. We're now at the mercy of where we can find a car and can, you know, we don't even get to bargain on price anymore. It's just, is there a car? We've gone last 2 years down to Kentucky to get our cars.
This new contract will start what budget year?
This coming, so it'll be July 1st.
So just a rough number, I did an average of the 9 deputies that would be doing this, their salary, then I just estimated $25,000 health insurance, you know, what we're gonna end up paying for that.
Right.
And then 46,000 on a car, that's, let's see here. It's me 6. $147,708. How long are you keeping the cars for?
Well,
Or how often?
they generally last about 3 years.
Okay.
Kind of works on the contract. The one thing I have done for the towns, just to keep it consistent among the two, is I pick 2 deputies that are not command level. And they don't have any extras. In other words, they're just 2 baseline employees that get the same amount. And I just, in the budget, I assign those to each one of them to one of the towns on paper. So in this case, it's Dave Weebold and Andy Paul.
Ooh, that's what I was wondering, okay.
And they have exactly the same, their Blue Cross Blue Shield is the same, they have the same plan, they have the same overtime costs. Other than everything's the same.
So, I mean, are you looking at like, see, so we already have these employed in the county. So you're the percentage of what the 40-hour cost would be for.
Because they're basically they're not getting a dedicated deputy in a sense, but they are because our deputy's working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So they're getting 40 hours
They're
of,
getting dedicated time.
yeah.
So you're figuring out what our hourly cost is per deputy and.
Well, we just, you know, we know that a deputy's base pay is based on 40 hours. So we just take that, 2 of those deputies and just take their costs and
For
assign
40
it to the
hours.
cities. Yeah. And then we do have additional cost in there for overtime. We're always going to have more, you know, overtime is something we never, ever avoid because just the fact that you work a holiday is essentially the same as overtime for us.
Mhm.
So just covering the holidays is like a minimum, you know, it's a few $1,000s just to cover holidays.
Yeah, because you either get straight time or time and a half.
Right.
For holidays.
Right.
I'm just looking at what our current is, because there's separate payments for the service and no, it is one. So 111,438 is where we're at right now. So like this year, it probably cost, because this fiscal year, the deputies got their raise from the union, so they saved like 37,000 or 27,000, that'd be.
Right. Let me just do something here.
Oh, 37,000.
So if you just looked at the cost of the deputy, without any equipment, fuel, nothing else, just the personnel, you're at 137,949.
And then if you add 46,000 for a $30,000 car and $16,000 in
Right.
the outfit,
Yep.
you're a lot more.
We'd have to buy a car.
Deputy has to have a car signed.
Yeah.
If we don't, it's just one more place where we're supplementing the city's budget.
Just didn't know, okay.
What's each community pay now?
111,
111,438. But I mean, if you look at cities that have their own law enforcement, I mean, Marengo, I think their budget is what, 5?
it's just under
Something.
600,000.
And then Williamsburg is almost 9, over 9 now this year, I think. 900,000.
Medora, Millersburg, and Parnell pay what?
They are in an old contract that essentially paid based on population, which we stopped adjusting for population several years ago because so we're not adjusting for costs going up, so we're sure as heck not gonna adjust for population going down. Their total is like $6,000 some dollars for all three. It's, none of them pay $2,000.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's really small. So we have to come up with some kind of a formula for that. I don't know what you do because you could go based on like what, you can easily see what their calls for service were last year. But it's very misleading because
Could change the next year.
it could change, you could have a major crime in one of them and it just blows it right out of the water. Unless we just did an average of all three and then come up with something, some hourly rate based on that. It's whatever it is, it's gonna be significantly more than what they're paying now. No question.
I was wrong on the vehicle. It looks like there is a $7,500 vehicle.
There is.
Yes.
which, You know, we figured at 3 years ago what the vehicle was costing, and then, of course, we get the trade. You know, they don't really own the car, so we gave them the install. We didn't charge for what the install was, so that was the cost of a car, which really not even 3 years ago, it'd be really 4 years ago, because we're using numbers that were 4 years old.
That was what, 7,500?
It was $7,500 a year.
And that is included in the 111, or that's
That
added?
was included.
That was included.
All costs are included in the 111. And what I can do is, if you want, I can take that chart of our charges and plug in today's numbers based on the last version of the budget, and just show you what it is. It's helpful.
I hate to see us locked into 3 years with the way this budget is right now. I'm just gonna say, I think we ought to just maybe tiptoe and go 1 year at a time until we know where we're at.
Right.
What is your thought? Do you have any?
I'm all for just getting information, but you're gonna have the people and the city council is gonna pick apart the whole $2,000 per Parnell, Millersburg, Medora.
Oh, yeah.
Cause you're gonna have what's all their calls of service for a year combined versus Victor. And they're paying 6,000 when Victor's paying 118. So that's gonna be a very, very, very big deal there. like I said, I'm just getting information. I don't have a side on this. I just the guinea pig, so.
And I agree, I think the other three, we're gonna have to up them. I mean, we can't keep.
You're gonna have to probably have them drastically.
Yeah.
I don't know Victor's, I can't speak for the city council members, but there is chatter whether they'll renew the contract even at all.
Does Powashik County support it at all?
I can just tell you last time.
Right now, no,
Okay,
No.
but
They only go to Casey's though.
well, but there's still a shared
if there's a call like
responsibility.
an urgent call, I've seen them.
We cover the city. Does not matter that
Where the
they're.
county line is.
Mhm.
Yeah, we go past the county line. We are in charge of the city limits.
I see.
But that's why I bring it up, is it a shared responsibility? And I know we get into the weeds of Powashik County and, well, we can't go across the street because it's over there. I don't want to see that either, but someone needs to
Well, it's-
recognize there's got to be some
It's
support.
really not a thing. It's
Yeah.
really not a thing because the city is paying for law enforcement to cover their city limits.
Okay,
And so they're paying, they were paying that cost, so
okay.
it's how, they did go to Powashik County. I believe when the city did not sign for the first quarter, Powashik County's charge was, I believe, 50,000 more than what ours was on an as-needed basis only, with hourly rates for investigative cases, which I don't even know how you do that, because at that point now, the city council is now in charge of whether you investigate a crime. And I don't know if that's a good idea. So basically, Powashik
How do you
didn't
budget?
want it.
Okay, that answers that. I just
Investigation go now,
need to hear that.
if there's a heinous crime in the Powashik
It's just-
side or the Iowa County side, is it?
We
Is it the
just,
Powashik investigator does
no,
Powashik County?
no, they get to do, the city is the city. North England's the same way. There's a little bit over in Keeping County. The city is in charge of the city. And because they're contracted with us, we're in charge of the city. So it really doesn't matter where it's.
Even if it's in Powashik for an
I mean-
investigation.
They could have jurisdiction if they wanted it, but they're not gonna want it, But from a monetary standpoint, it's not an issue because they're paying for the hours. We're using the hours up. It's charged against their hours. Now, if you look, we never hit 40 hours. It's always over. And we also don't charge for anything that is school district wide. So if we're doing some kind of training at the school, I always felt it was improper to charge a city for something that serves a school district, So when it comes to doing training, talking to the kids or anything, whatever, we don't charge the cities against their time for those things. That makes sense.
You'd be splitting hairs if you did all the time, and the paperwork, and, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna state, I think we ought to just go 1 year at a time, and I think we need to seriously look at upping the other three communities. And we probably need to have some data that I'm sure you have access to for number of calls and actualities, so that we are communicating to everyone in this county what the true costs are and what the number of calls are.
We're not giving an opinion, but, like with Victor in North English, you're contracting 40 hours. I mean, why would they expect to pay for it? I mean, just I'm confused.
I think the whole thing, I can't tell you much because I've only been in this position for a week or 2 weeks, whatever the heck it was, but, just from what I got told is like, depending who you talk to, some people are not happy with the actual policing, some people think it's too expensive,
That's
well.
everywhere.
That's
Agreed, I'm just telling you what I get told.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm neutral on all this, I'm just here to, because I got told I should probably go, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking for opinions. I'm just.
But I
your
know
opinion, but
for the information, they're gonna argue, like our city council is gonna look at it and be like, well, why is, obviously, between Lador, Millersburg and Parnell, their call to service versus Victor's gonna be higher. So Victor's gonna probably argue, why aren't them 3 towns combined paying the same amount as we are?
be interested to see if they're getting 40 hours a week though down
That's
No,
what
they're
I'd like
not.
to know, yeah,
there.
what,
So they're not.
But if you did
I
the
don't
calls
know.
of service, what's it add up? Say they have argument's sake, 3,000 calls of service between all towns. I don't know what a number would even be. But if you
I'd
added,
have to start counting calls for service outside in the rural areas too.
sure,
I mean, we're not charging for a call for service.
Right, I mean, I think it comes down to, since the rural fund pays for the majority of patrol, essentially it's the rural taxpayer who is supplementing.
That's what I was just
City.
looking at. They're all in Fund 2000. So like me living out in rural Iowa, most of us here, we're paying,
Right.
our taxes are going to the fund that's, you're donating into the fund that's getting paid out of here, but we're actually the ones paying for
For
that.
supplement.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And so that's become the issue.
I don't think, I wouldn't think like North English and, Victor have major businesses. I wouldn't think they would not want.
And
Routine.
the school district is the big thing, and I think that's kind of what pushed it over the edge. The last time we got into kind of a stalemate was the school district was upset that they were losing law enforcement. And the thing is,
Rightfully so.
this is where the Iowa code is kind of wishy-washy. It says that cities will provide law enforcement. It's not a can, it's they will. It is an essential service that they must provide.
Is that for every city or just?
Yes, every city is.
Every city.
I was
It
just
doesn't say
looking at-
how they can do it. It doesn't say, well, if you have this many people, it's this many hours. If you have, it's Cedar Rapids follows the same rule that Millersburg does. It's just, it's up to them to decide what that is. And then find someone who will do it for that. And that was the problem that we had before is I can't hire 20-hour guys. If a city comes in and says, I want 20 hours, well, you're taking 20 hours away from the rural because I don't have a 20-hour guy. I only have this, just like Dr. Dunn was before. The fact that we were able to hold on to that, we didn't think when Dr. Dunn left that we were going to be able to pull that off. And Barry came in and we came up with something and it's working great.
That's good.
So
That's nice to
I
hear.
think we're better off than the county is when it comes to that.
So an actual physician comes in and
Yeah.
does the deal.
Well, we call it a provider because not
Sure.
always a physician might be, PA or,
Yeah.
but it's someone who can write strips and take care of people.
Sure
So
good.
It works great.
Yeah, they're growing their business and service. It's a good business.
And that's something else that I need to bring up is the hospital has asked us to look into what the cost would be to provide security at the hospital. Starting small, starting on weekends and eventually working in a 24/7. And they would like deputies. So this could be another contract. And all I can tell them is when we get things squared away, I'll shoot them some numbers based on, 40 hours. I think he wants, essentially 24/7 is what he'd like to get to. He understands that that's not possible to do that tomorrow, but it is possible. It would take some time.
You have to hire somebody.
We definitely would. And that would be a little bit unlike the contract towns where people can come and go. This would be dedicated. So we would have, just to run 24/7, you're looking at least 5 people.
Yeah.
So, and it would be expensive.
Okay.
Basically be looking at a city PD contract, like Marengo or Williamsburg. So,
But not to downgrade what their job would be, would they need, would that person qualify for the same pay as a deputy that's out on the road?
well, and see that would be our challenge because yes, they would, but you gotta find someone who's willing to do that kind of work. Now, one of the things, and I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, that might be a job that somebody who's maybe close to retirement, kind of thinking about holding on for a little while, you know what I'm talking about. Might appeal to them. So maybe you aren't necessarily taking the brand new officer and putting them in the hospital.
What benefit is it to the county to do that? And we're supplying private security.
Yeah, I think it just gives us depth, in case of something really bad happening. I mean, he is all about making sure that it is reimbursed at the full, like, he's not looking for a deal. You know, like, he understands what it costs. So I think depth is what it gives us.
Because I think the private security is cheaper.
Well, they looked into the problem with private security is they can't do the things, private security calls 911 when there's trouble. And so what did that get him?
Do they have much trouble down there?
You'd be surprised.
I
It
can say,
is-
I am, I didn't know
it's
they had any problem.
Ever since COVID, the hospitals have been inundated with
Crazy.
hostile
Yeah.
patients.
Yeah, see, I would never guess that.
I mean, hostility is horrible.
I've been to university a couple times this week and you can't even get a parking spot.
Yeah, my daughter's been physically assaulted in the ER at St. Luke's a couple times.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
You know, we get called down there quite a bit, you know, and that's one of the issues that we have, you know, we don't always have 24-hour coverage here in this town. So, you know, that's another place that we end up doing work. And a lot of it is the hospital. And I want to help the hospital as much as I can. I don't ever want to say, no, we can't help you, because they're just so important to us. Both
To the whole county.
To the whole county.
The whole community, the whole county.
Yeah, so,
Hospital and Greg Welsh was there.
You cannot find a better, of course, I'm biased probably, my wife works there, I live in Marengo, but I travel all over the Midwest and Iowa, you can't find a better setup than what we got here.
This would be something you'd probably start out like the courthouse security officer,
as far as, I think it's.
the position down there. Or that's gonna take further discussion.
Well, so what he's looking at right now is he wants to cover, the first thing he wants to cover is weekends, like overnights. So, you know, Friday through Sunday morning. So you've got, you know, you're already hitting 40 hours.
Is that because that's the worst time?
Well, and then the Marengo PD isn't 24 hours, so I'm sure that's their gap
That's
too.
part of their problem.
Maybe see if your court officer like that shift.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly, I offered him a car on Monday and Tuesday and he wouldn't take it, so. I don't know. But just something else going on, and obviously we'll keep you updated on that, but I will get these bits of information to you as soon as possible, and
Thanks, Rob.
thank you.
Again, thanks. for
I'll
having us
follow
back.
up on that.
I'm supposed to.
Thank you.
Somebody's.
What's he calling it?
University, great for you guys every morning.
We're an hour past it. Quarter side.
There's a guy out here covering.
It's Rick. Yeah, it's Rick. He
Everybody,
was on at 10:30.
you need a quick bathroom break?
I'm good.
Abby?
Abby's going.
Abby
needed one.
needs one.
Yeah,
I'll go.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
You guys have a good weekend.
And I didn't know for sure where we were, and so, I mean, obviously, if need be, we can come back.
Oh, no.
Okay, but I think we're here, you're here, let's dive in.
No,
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay, all right.
If you do, I'm for that, because you bring more cryptids.
Okay.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. All right, so, yeah, so we have some new faces, which is terrific. So just take a real quick minute just to kind of refresh. So my name is Rick Jellica. We work with a company called Northwest Partners. This is Deanne Turner. And Deanne and I kind of handle all of the benefits that we're providing your staff outside of like their retirement, no IFR stuff, obviously, but medical, dental, vision, the disability, the life insurance, the flex savings plan. That's kind of, we manage that. And we work directly with Dan Lewis at his office in Williamsburg. And so we're kind of an arm of their office that does employee benefits. So the insurance industry, like so many, has gotten to the point of almost specializing in certain areas. And if you're going to try to do the best you can in an area, you really have to focus on just that. So our sole focus at our company is just employee benefits. We do some Medicare stuff. We write a little bit of individual health insurance under 65, but the bulk of what we do is only employee benefits. So, you know, we don't do commercial insurance, no car, house, no work comp, none of that work. This is kind of our area of expertise. And we've been doing this for 30 plus years out of our office. And we've had the good fortune now to help Iowa County for the last, I think this is the third renewal, like 3.5 years.
Been over since I was here, yeah.
Yeah, which is terrific, So with that, and again, not just to sit here and just start to blabble, but I've spent a lot of time on both sides of the table at these meetings, because I was on school board for 8 years. I was a mayor for a long time. And so it's always me trying to determine what do you want to know and what do I need to give you from a board standpoint, right? I mean, we have a little insurance subcommittee. Abby's been involved in that. We've sat down and kind of dove in deeper over the years. Obviously, Brandy has a hand on this regularly. And so I don't want to get deep in the weeds, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we're answering everything that you want to understand about what we're offering. Okay, so I think that's just kind of a good segue into a conversation. And we're just going to kind of go through the packet. And I laid it out kind of in a way that I think that's going to kind of help to guide the discussion. But this isn't me, you know, giving a lecture. So stop me, ask questions, anything that comes up you don't understand, you want to maybe talk a little bit different level, we can do that. So if you just kind of open your booklet up, page 3 is just kind of a synopsis of what's going on with your benefits. So all of your stuff is going to renew in July. So it's kind of crazy to think about, you know, we're the second week of January, we're already here talking about what's going to happen at the middle of the year. So your employee benefits go July to July.
What's the release March 2024 meeting?
Okay, so that company, so the life insurance, the disability insurance, that renewal isn't going to be released until March. So I don't have those numbers today. Okay, so it's coming, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the other, we've tried to get ahead of this because of your budgeting issue. It always happens with school districts, municipalities, everybody's trying to project their budgets, and we can't wait until June to determine what your health insurance renewal is going to be.
These other companies don't understand that at all.
No, they don't understand it at all. That's exactly right. Right. And so Wellmark's done a good job being able to project a renewal early. So we get that usually about the first week of January. So we got it about a little over a week ago. And I called Brandy right away and she said, well, let's just get you on the agenda and have you come. So that's kind of why we're here. But the nice thing is there's still time. Okay. So it's not like we're under the gun to hurry up and get something done and make decisions today, but we just want to get some information in front of you. So the medical renewal, which is basically guiding most all the decisions, because that's where the bulk of the premium dollars are. Okay, we're looking at an increase of just under 5%, and we're going to give you some history on that, and I'm going to show you how they come up with that number in a minute. And I would just tell you that most of the time, anytime we can get under 8%, we always figure that's a win.
That's a big one.
Last year, we had a really good renewal. It was right at about 2%. Okay, and so this year's a little bit higher, and I'll show you why it's a little bit higher, but in comparison to when we first started, we were almost always at double digits. We looked at a 15, we had a 12 one year, and so we've kind of done some things over the years to mitigate some of that and try to guide some people in their decision making to provide us with an opportunity to stabilize some of that rate increase. And I can't tell you that I won't come back next year and say, I'm sorry, this one's going up 13%. Crazy things happen. But I think we've positioned ourselves now, so hopefully we're going to hold right in that, 4, 5, 6%. It's almost impossible for us not to have at least 3 or 4%, and it's usually closer to 10. And it's just medical inflation.
Yeah.
There's just no way around that. Okay.
What spurred John Gearing into getting you guys in was we were looking at 25% increase on our health insurance that year.
Yeah.
So that's when they talked to Dan, and Dan had recommended these guys to be looking at our plans or whatever. Because it used to be Mercer, I think.
Correct, for a long
Yeah.
time.
I have all their paperwork, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's when we had the opportunity. And then, obviously, you know, keeping the lines of communication open, I talk a lot about educating the staff. I think we've done a really good job trying to get information to them. Sometimes, you know, it's not always a good give and take, but you try the best you can to get them information. And over time, we've kind of done some things that have helped, and I think we'll continue to try to do that. I'm gonna make some recommendations today that are gonna continue to talk about that. But, so your medical's at about 4.7. The dental plan, there's no change. Okay, so that does renew July 1st, but no increase to the rates. We're gonna talk about adding orthodontia to that, okay, in a little bit. The vision plan is under a rate guarantee. So your vision plan actually usually runs 2 years at a time. And so last year it renewed, this year it doesn't renew. So we know that's going nowhere, okay? So that's just gonna stay where it is, which is good. And then, you know, the question was asked earlier here about what does a released March mean? And that means that Sun Life just hasn't got around to giving us the numbers yet for July. We do know there's been some activity on the Sun Life plans, so some disability claims have been filed, so there's a possibility that we're gonna see a change, okay? And a lot of times those rates are based almost solely on usage. And if we don't have any usage, they usually just stay flat. But when we start to have usage, and obviously that insurance company is paying out dollars on claims, they're gonna ask to try to get recouped somehow. And the somehow is, we're gonna charge you more next year when the plan renews. Okay, depending on what that does, we have about 9 different companies that we work with for those products. And if it's ridiculous increase, we'll just take it to market and see if somebody else can do better. Okay, and we'll have that conversation if and when we need to. Okay, we still have like a little insurance committee. Yeah, so maybe John, I mean, sometimes it's just easier to communicate
Yeah,
on a
that's what I
smaller
think,
level.
yeah.
But I think it's great today to come and to just give you all a general understanding of what's going on.
One thing with Sun Life that we're thinking about doing, eventually is actually this coming before Cindy leaves.
Yeah.
We're thinking about, they offer to do all of our, taxes form and stuff, because right now we have to do quarterlies, and from those quarterlies, and we have to sit there and we have to pay. They're talking about, that's an option that they give us, is doing all of that,
Okay.
which would be really nice for when I take over it,
You bet.
because
Yeah.
it is a mess right now. And, you know, I don't know about other companies. I know that there'll be a fee for this, but I know we've had them for a long time, and I know that,
They will do that.
so.
It'd be something we negotiate when we do
Yeah.
go out to market.
Yeah.
All the companies will offer that now, so that can be taken off your plate. We
Okay.
just have to figure out cost and
Okay.
what we're gonna offer.
And we don't have any claims, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
But as claims start to
Cindy
come in,
said
then
this is the worst. Since I've taken it over, it's like the worst it's been.
yeah, well, baptism by fire, so there you go.
Yeah, I think we already have like 5 scheduled in the next 2 months. They're going on the short-term disability.
Yeah.
And out of two of them, Adam was just in here with them. So, I mean, 2 right now, I mean, it's a nonstop thing. We always have people on it now. So it's, and he's like, we used to have like 5 maybe per the whole year. And I already have that in like a month.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Yeah, and your flex savings plan, there's no change on that for the upcoming, so that's gonna be flat too. Okay, so if you flip to page 4, early on, when John and Dan and Abby and I got together and when we came to present, I put together a little 3-year timeline. And so I wanted to go back and just kind of look at that again, and fortunately, some of the recommendations I made and some of what you were able to incorporate have paid dividends in terms of trying to control this rate. And if you look over the years, these are some of the things we've done. So the first thing we knew is that the plan designs needed to kind of change, and the contribution from the county needed to change. So we implemented some of that stuff. Okay, and it's an ongoing process, and we're gonna talk about next year when we get there, but I just wanted to kind of give you just, because I knew we had some new faces, just kind of give you an overall. It's not just Rick coming in and Deanne coming in and saying, well, let's look at this year. We're trying to project, you know, what are we gonna do for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, because that's where you have to look at the benefit package.
So you're still looking to do the high deductible?
Right, we are, yeah. Is that a frown, or is that?
That was a
Okay,
big
well,
frown. I came from a company that did that, and I had to come up with, you know, $7,000 of my own money just to meet my 80% deductible.
we're gonna talk about that.
So.
Okay, and that won't be the only
I
option.
think think really long and hard about employees, and
That's right.
I just went to the hospital not too long ago. I couldn't afford $7,000 just to meet 80% of my hospital bill.
You
So
would have
that's
to-
something to really think about.
Yeah, I think they got Yeah, let's just, yeah.
Is that-
Okay.
Perfect, that's good, so, right.
Yeah, I used to work with insurance all the time, I'm gonna tell you guys.
You bet, you bet. And we would never do something where we hamstrung everybody to do that.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be an option. You're gonna have the option to choose this or to choose this. Okay.
Get that, John.
Where's it from?
Don't touch it.
I'm gonna hit ignore, but it's not working, my ignore button's not working.
Okay, so when the renewal from Walmart comes, we're gonna spend the bulk of the day talking about Blue Cross, okay? And I'm not gonna keep any longer than we need to.
Calling each other?
Hello?
We never get calls.
How do we get a phone?
Mine's always on that ring.
I am your phone.
I think that's why Ellen's moving.
You want to call the engineer's office? Yep. Our for sale sign got damaged by a county plow truck.
I think I called up here.
You guys supervise our line. We take you right to the top. No messing
Be
around.
north of the land.
No messing around.
I think I know exactly who it is.
Yeah, so Blue Cross does a nice job of just kind of giving us an overall summary of the number, a little bit of high level on the number. So I've looked at page 6 and I'm looking at that chart. And so it's showing us prior year one, which would be 2 years ago. Prior year is last year and then the current year. So when we look back, that's the percentage of change. That's the percentage of people that were on the plan. Okay, so right now for the upcoming renewal, we've got 128 staff members enrolled. We got about 370 belly buttons, I always say. So there's family coverage. So it's not just, we're not just insuring the people that work here, we're insuring everybody that needs coverage. So 128 enrolled, okay, which is down from a couple last year. And there's just that ebbs and flows almost monthly, right, Sarah? That's, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Total population, you're about 60% male. Okay, you got about 82% of family insurance versus single, which in our industry is a little bit heavy. Okay, we usually would see more singles than families, but that's just how it works here. Total population, about 53% is over 45, got 2 people over 65, and compared to their average book of business, that's running a little higher. Okay, so it is what it is. Your current year loss ratio, that's what we always focus on, is what premium is paid in versus how much claims are paid out. Okay, and their target is always between 80 and 85%. That's where we're trying to get you to. And you're right now at about 79.73%. Okay, and there's run out, they call it run out, we'll talk about in a minute, and that's expected claims. Because your plan doesn't renew until the end of June, we've got to kind of estimate what we think could additionally come in. And I think you're going to end about 81.6%, which is a great number. And that's why that renewal is under 5. Okay. We talked about manual rating, and that's what they project you should be paying versus what they actually are paying. So they look at your demographic and they say, based on the volume of people we have, how old they are, male, female, all that stuff, they think they can determine about what the claims are going to be. Okay, and you're running a little bit over the manual rate. That doesn't matter. It is what it is. We buy insurance, so when somebody gets sick, they get the claim paid, right? And so we deal with the numbers as they come in. And I'm just kind of summarizing just to kind of in the essence of time, okay? We are dealing with some larger claims volume than we have in the past. So we have 4 claims over 75,000, okay, which is not normal for us. And they've actually identified 7 members exceeding that for next year. And why is 75,000 a big deal? 75,000 is a big deal because of what we call reinsurance. They call that pooling. So any claim that exceeds 75,000 really doesn't impact you or even impact Wellmark because they bought extra insurance to offset that. It's called reinsurance. So you're going to see in a minute when I break down how they got to the 4% that they actually bring that back out of the number. Okay, but that's why they're always looking at claims in excess of 75,000. Okay, the real unfortunate thing is we've got 42 people with claims over 10,000. Okay. And they only expected there to be about 27. And so we had just a larger claim volume than what we normally would have. They expected there to be about 3 people over 75 and ended up with 4.
Is that a combined?
That's
combined or just a one-time? Is that a broken ankle or is it a broken ankle and a broken wrist the second time? I mean,
it's your claims, Alan. It's how many
per claim.
per claim for
Not
you for the year.
person.
No, it's yeah, it's you for the whole year.
Okay,
All
for the
of
whole
it.
year.
For the whole year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you bet. Great question, okay? We're gonna, I kind of give you some examples when we dive into that. And Dan, stop me if you think I'm missing something, we're going too fast. Okay, so from an underwriting standpoint, right? They know that we're gonna have things pop up throughout the year. And the unknowns, we don't know. What we do know is that we've got these large claims and we know some of them are gonna continue to be large claims. And so from an underwriting standpoint, that kind of hurts us because they say, well, we know this is projected dollars that are gonna continue to be paid out. So when that underwriter sits down and tries to determine about how much more he thinks or she thinks we need to collect, they're looking at that. So when we get 7 people over, projected to be over 75,000, they're taking notice to that, okay? But again, I never want to diminish the fact that these 7 people are so grateful for what you provided them because they have a really nice health insurance package, okay? And so it's all about trying to balance that out. So if you look at those 7 claims, I'm on page 7 in that chart, okay? One claim is really driving a lot of this. There's about almost a $400,000 claim that's floating out there, and that's going to continue into next year at a projected amount of similar to where it is now, because it's a medication. And it's hard to believe that there are medications that are that expensive, but the medication that that member is on is running just under $394,000. So of that $395,862, yeah.
All 4 of these are medication.
Yeah. So, yeah, so you look at that, so 395,862 is the actual claim volume. 393,936 is the med. So the actual doctor's visits don't amount to anything. It's all medication.
I'm lucky, I don't take anything.
Yeah, okay. And so that's a biggie, okay? And we're just dealing with that. So it's gonna be there next year and we'll find a way to compensate or adjust for that. The rest of them aren't anything that really is that earth shaking, right? Although they're projected to be higher or equal to what they were this year. We've got somebody that's got Crohn's disease. That's an ongoing issue. We've got some rheumatoid arthritis. We had somebody who went into false labor early and it affected our renewal. So those are the kind of the triggers, okay? What I didn't show you, because I just didn't think we wanted to get that deep in the weeds, is the 42 people that are over 10,000. These are just the 7 that they're projecting to be over 75,000.
I don't even know what that stuff even means.
Okay. I really don't get hung up anymore spending a ton of time on claims over 10,000 because there are so many claims that fall between 10 and 25,000 now that are just prescription medications. Okay, lots of people take a lot of medications and a lot of them are expensive, and it's not uncommon for somebody to be on a script that's at least $1,000 a month. And if you're on a $1,000 monthly script, you got a $12,000 claim. Okay, so claims over 10,000, they're just becoming almost commonplace anymore. But 42 would be quite a few out of 380 belly buttons. I mean, that's on average. Okay, all right. So they send us all the data that you would ever want to have. And Abby and I have dug into this before, right?
Yeah, I want to see
Okay,
that too.
yeah, and so I have that. I didn't put it in your packet, okay, just because for sure volume. But what I did is I went through that and I kind of pulled out things that I thought the board should know about. Okay, so again, this is just trying to educate you. So if you run into somebody on the street and they ask you a question, okay, I kind of remember what Rick said about that. Okay, so take this kind of as with a grain of salt because the numbers are always skewed because it's an average, but your average per member per year claims increased by 17%. So if they look at the numbers, every single belly button, and they look at the total claims, the claim volume went up per person by 17%. We have one claim for $400,000. So on average, that's going to adjust that up, right? So the total claim volume per person is a little over $5,100 mathematically, okay? 35.6% of that was prescription medication. And that's 10% higher than it was last year. Well, that doesn't surprise me because we had a medication that cost $393,000. So of course that average is going to be higher, right? Okay, but I do want to show you that just so you kind of know what's going on. Okay, in-network utilization. There was a big stereotype here that we had to get over with the staff on what we've talked about in terms of where we receive our care. National networks versus local HMO networks. And it took us a couple of years to get people to realize that most of all of us receive our care locally. And if we move to an HMO product, providing care all across Iowa, we can save dollars, okay? And we still have a handful of people that are on the PPO. That's a national network. And we need to offer that to them. We don't ever want to eliminate that. we finally got everybody else kind of coming around, and you can see that your in-network utilization is almost 100%. So we don't have anybody that's having a claims issue being out of network, as much as they like to sit in the other room and tell us, well, HMOs are terrible and they'll never work right? Okay, that's not the case. The data shows that no, the networks work fine, okay? The next bullet point, we're talking about member cost share, is important for you guys to know when we talk about plan design. And we look at plan design, like how much are our deductibles, what's our office copay? And in order to lower increases, so 4.7% only comes down if we take on more risk and move deductibles, okay? Your member cost share is lower than what it was last year. So we had 17% more claims by person, but the amount your staff paid out is less than what it was last year. So our plans, by definition, are probably a little richer than what they even need to be. But we also want to make sure that we're providing a quality product to the staff. Okay.
Well, that was that part of making the one free, to
That's
get
right.
more people attracted to it, to get our quality.
Exactly right. That's perfect. And it worked, right? It worked. Okay. The next bullet point is something that we just have to talk about. Okay. It's fine. No, we have a mental health crisis in our nation. Everybody knows that. We're trying to educate people on that, you know, this is not a stigma. You need to get help, go get help, okay? Of all of your office visits, every single person that went to the doctor, okay? So I'm talking about little kids seeing the doctor for earaches to 24.3% of your office visits were for mental health related conditions.
Naive, that really surprises me.
That surprises you.
Yeah.
It surprised me. And I've been doing this a long time. That number seems high to me.
That's what it's like working for Iowa County.
20. Who the hell, who's running this place? Who's the boss?
Kevin.
So one out of 4 people going to the doctor are seeing somebody for mental health, okay?
So in this room right now, 2 of us are going in for mental health issues.
Yeah, because most people that need it don't go.
That's right. On top of that,
We pay for
right,
that EAP
right,
program.
right.
Yeah. Covers a bunch of stuff.
So it's that, Sarah, right? It's promoting your
Yeah.
EAP,
Yeah.
giving them resources, and we need them to go. That's not
Yeah.
the, we're not trying to discourage them from going, okay? But that seems high to me, okay?
Is there a norm?
I
You have norms for like all that the other things.
Right, I'll try to get you something, if there
This
is.
is what the house part was key, right?
Yeah, maybe not, maybe this is now the trend, right? I mean, coming out of COVID, I don't know, but.
I'm thinking the age of the.
Partially.
Yeah.
So wait, so the younger, or the older?
Well,
Careful.
honestly, I think the younger people,
Careful.
it's the first thing they go to. is,
Yeah.
I need to get.
Whereas we
mental
just
health.
say, well, just for that day.
I was gonna say, my parents just suck it up.
That's right.
I didn't say that anymore, Kevin.
No, you're gonna be great.
Especially girls.
So I'm raising my daughter wrongly, right?
Yeah, you gotta be supportive.
You don't put a little dirt on it,
Let me
you're fine.
fall for you and.
You get reason to cry.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So it's good. So, I mean, again, just getting in front of them with your employee assistance program, making sure they understand doctors on demand, right? So we have a telemedicine feature that Walmart offers, now has a mental health feature to that. So it's just educating. And we're not doing anything different, but I mean, we just need to know that number jumped out at me. I want you to know that. Okay. Obviously trying to mitigate prescription drug costs. And we do that a couple different ways. Most of the time having the carrier, Walmart, help us. And they are. They're putting in initiatives to try to lower those. So what you're going to see, there's 2 bullet points there. The Humira pen, okay? 35% of your entire volume for medication is one medicine, okay? About 17 people taking that. It's running about $110,000 annually for those scripts.
What is that?
Okay, yeah, basically that's taking care of that Crohn's disease issue. It's basically a deflammatory, okay? And it also helps arthritis and cirrhosis, okay? So they've done a really good job at Walmart, and they're introducing a lower cost version of that. It's actually a generic. And they're really gonna have everybody try it. And some people it may not work for. And if not, we're not telling you you have to take this, but if there's a cost mitigation option, those people that are on that Humira pen are gonna get notified from the carrier that there is an alternative out there and we'd like you to give it a try. Okay, so they're doing things internally to help us with that. We also have something in Dan and I talked about it. It's a new product that they offer. They built it into your plan. It's called Prudent RX. And it's just them having arrangements with drug carriers. And so there's about 30 medications, high cost medications that they've negotiated a lower cost for. and they will contact the member if they're on one of those, and basically tell them, instead of going to the pharmacy to get that, we're gonna have you go over here and work directly with this carrier to provide you that medication. And it's at a lower cost for the member and a lower cost for, indirectly for you guys. And that'll start in July. Okay, and I don't know, you may have nobody taking one of those, okay?
Yeah.
But I would think you probably do.
Especially like these local pharmacies, they just don't have the contracts to get the cost down.
Maybe you mentioned it, but how many were under?
Yeah, I missed that one, didn't I?
I think that's kind of important.
Really
When we
important.
think
Yeah,
about.
probably one of the more important ones I had.
We'll just-
Yeah, the 75%.
Yeah, so 75% of your members had claims under $2,500.
We talk about claims increasing, but it's that one or two people, those 7 people that are really running it.
So when we look at your plan design, right, and everybody throws their hands up and says, oh my gosh, my deductible went up again, and my out-of-pocket maximum went up again, and yes, but 75% of the staff used under 2,500, so it wouldn't have mattered if your deductible was 10,000, they wouldn't have hit it anyway, right? So we always use those numbers to help with that plan design stuff. Good segue into the next page. So the next page is basically your 3 health plans that you provide your staff, okay? We had 4 for a while, we went to 3 shortly after I got here, went right to 3, try to kind of narrow down the focus and not have too many to pick from. Okay, we have 1 Alliance Select, the top plan is the national network plan. We have 2 then what we call a Blue Advantage HMO product. The policy on the bottom, the 3rd policy, is the one that you basically pay 100% of the premium for. And then the members, the staff, pay the difference if they want a different policy, okay? So from a budgeting standpoint, it's made everybody's life downstairs a little simpler because this is how much we pay for the health insurance. And if the employee wants a different plan, they have to pay all of that. So we can just basically say we have 128 people on the plans and this many singles, this many family, and we do the math and that's what the costs are gonna be, okay? So if we don't change that model, okay, obviously there's going to be a adjustment to the budget, but there's also going to be some adjustment to the member because the plans went up about 5%, right? So those 3 plans are going to renew. If we keep everything the way it is, we continue to pay 100% of plan 3 and have them pay the difference. The budgeting increase is going to be just over $9,000 a month, okay? So when I do the math on how much does the county pay, based on how many people we have insured, if we pay 100% of the plan 3, the increase for that, for the same number of people, is right at 9,000. It's $9,024.69.
It's going roughly to 2,670,000, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But some of that's not your cost,
Yeah,
right? Because if they choose the PPO,
Yeah,
they're
sure.
picking up a difference.
true.
So I want to just
It's
focus
really
on,
only like 1.2 million, isn't it,
Yeah.
what we pay a year?
well, over 2 million. I'll show you that in a second.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So any questions on the 3 plans? Okay, last year we had, 2% increase, so we didn't change the plans. We did change contribution a little bit. Okay, the national network plan went up a little bit, but. So now we're gonna talk about what Sarah was mentioning, and this is the potential of considering adding a high deductible health plan option. And this is just feedback we've got from some of the staff when we have our meetings, try to listen to what they're telling us and what they want. Okay, and several of them over the years have asked about a high deductible health plan. And I'm just gonna take 5 minutes here and try to explain what a high deductible health plan is, how they work, maybe just good refresher. Okay, so we talk about a high deductible. So the top number basically is the average monthly contracts. We talked about that earlier. You had 129 contracts on average for that year. 23 singles, 105 family, got you to 128, 129. Your facilities and practitioner claims came in at $1,237,429. Your drug claims came in at $805,973. But we know 393 of that was one claim, but that's just the volume. Okay, so you can see your medical claims from the prior year to the current year are up about 27% by total volume. The next set of numbers, you see where it says 1,163,430? Okay, what they then do is they take everybody that's on our policies and they convert them to the most common policy. And the most common policy is the one you pay at 100%. It has the
Now
most
it is,
people
it
on it.
used to not be.
That's right, and that's why it's important that we got everybody over to that HMO, okay? Because that's controlling costs. So they take all the claims and they reevaluate the claims as if all those people were on the same plan. Okay? And it lowers your total. And it lowers your total because if everybody was on the HMO, the claims volume is less.
But it
Okay?
used to be everyone was on the national network, so when this number would come down here, it was increased.
Right, and they weren't using the national network. They were going local for their care anyway.
Yeah.
So we have 1.1 million in facilities and practitioners. The drug claims down to 770. So we know that a lot of the people that are on those medications are on the national network. Because if they would have got the scripts filled locally in the local HMO, there'd been some savings there. It is what it is. But it's 1,934,000. Okay? The next number, 347,868, is all the claims over 75,000. So if we flip back to that other page that showed those 4 claims over 75 and we do the difference between 75 and those claims, that's going to be that number. So they pull that out. You're not paying that. You're not being penalized for that. If you want to look at it as a penalty. And they come up with 1.5 million. So that's the number that they start on. Then they figure about 2.4% of additional claims for the run out. The claims that haven't been paid yet and will be paid between now and end of June. And they get to 1.6 million. Then they try to say, okay, if we had those exact same claims next year, how much more are the claims going to be because of inflation? They call that trend, okay? And they added about 14% onto that number. So that exact same claim volume filed in 2024, they're projecting would be then 1.8 million, okay? They pulled 14,000 out because we had fewer people on there this year than we did the previous year. That gave us a little bit of a credit. And they came back with 1.839, okay? They then underwrite. And then so that's all been pretty much no subject. That's just done math. Okay, now they're gonna say, well, what do we think is gonna happen? We've got these 7 people and they're gonna have larger claims than they did last year. So the underwriter tinks on another 100 grand, okay? Gets us to 1.9. They add the administrative costs, which is that reinsurance, all the costs that they pay, the money you pay Dan, all those things are in that, okay? And they come up with 2.6. You paid 2.5 in premium, so they need about 4% more to cover their projected cost. Make sense? That's how it works. Okay, so it's not throwing a dart at the dartboard saying, we think we need about 4.7%. There's math, right? How they come up with that. Okay? Okay. What are you thinking after you're looking at me?
Oh, I'm just thinking about self-insurance, but we're gonna talk about that today.
That's coming up later.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So one question before I
Yep,
make
slip
it,
out.
unfortunately, is that a year or 2 ago, I suggested we look at doing a wellness plan where we educate and they agree to come in, get their blood pressure taken, their blood sugar, all this, and they follow, these are the guidelines, and if you sign up for this, you'll get a discount. If they come through with it, it helps them physically. I signed up for a predecessor and it helped me with my health and saved me money. Is it something we can offer through you?
Yeah,
A wellness plan?
Yeah, Walmart will be able to help with that. We can also look at a separate vendor to consider doing that. The hard thing, anytime we talk about wellness, and I'm not discounting what you're saying. Sure. It's return on investment, because there's substantial costs associated with implementing those plans.
Yep.
And they seem to take off good initially, and then within about 3 months, people have.
They say to have.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So-
and you would know that. I
We
would.
would know, absolutely. So I'm not poo-pooing the idea, okay? It's just, I don't know, is it worth it or not, right? I mean, we don't know till we try it,
Right.
but then we have to go, oh geez, why we do that?
Well, we gotta, yeah.
Absolutely.
Pay Piper if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always kind of like, let's just promote them to get to the doctor for their physical, it's free, and have a plan. But we can talk to them blue in the face and I can't make you go, you know?
Yeah.
But I think if we keep always reminding them, you've got a free exam every year.
And you have public health, right?
Yes.
Okay, so internally, maybe we should be promoting blood pressure screenings every other Friday, or, I mean, something that wouldn't really cost you a lot, right? That you could just have your own people kind of promote. I don't know. I know that.
There we
I
go.
kind of touched the nerve, I know. All right.
Okay, I wanna hit that up before I left.
I'm glad.
Coming
I'm glad.
in.
All right,
But
so,
definitely can look into it in the cost, because
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we did look at it 2
think
years
we did
ago
too.
and it was pretty pricey.
It's kind of, yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
kick it around again. Okay, all right, so I don't want to just stop and say that's it, right? Because we're gonna talk about a little more thing, but from a medical standpoint, that's kind of what I wanted to tell the board today. I think there is an opportunity maybe to dive a little bit deeper with either the subcommittee or at least Randy on, you know, if you want to adjust any of the plan designs. I'm going to encourage you to probably hold the plans the way they are. We've had some volatility the last couple of years, and so having a year like last year where we kept the plans the same is going to be well received by the staff. But I do really want you to take a harder thought on that high deductible option. It doesn't matter if nobody signs up. It doesn't cost us anything to at least offer that as an option. Okay, maybe nobody the first year takes it, or maybe 3 or 4 people take it. And over time, they tend to kind of gain in popularity. And then it's really just, again, trying to control everybody's costs. Okay, the members' cost and the county's
Safe
cost.
travels.
So things like, good to see you. You bet.
Have a good weekend.
All right. So digest, visit, whatever, okay? So questions on the health stuff before we leave the health stuff. Kind of good, I know I kind of got paid off.
No, you're good.
Okay, all right. So there's the dental insurance. We've had the Blue Dental plan since we started helping you. And it seems to work fairly well. We don't get a lot of complaints, right, Sarah, about Blue Dental? Okay, and so that plan is renewing absolutely the same. Same plan design, same premium. So there isn't any reason to upset the apple cart. Other than at one of the meetings last year, several people said, what about orthodontia? Okay, because our current plan does not include any orthodontia coverage. It's really rich.
No plan really covers it. I mean, my husband works at Oral B and his plan doesn't cover it. Let's be
All right.
real.
Right, all right, well, and I will argue that of the dental products, the orthodontia is the best product on the plan.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm saying my kid needs braces.
Yeah, okay, there you go, okay. So let's talk about how it works.
Anything more?
Let's talk about how it works and how much it
I would
costs.
say not hurting any plan ever.
Right. Okay, so the drawback, right off the bat, the drawback to adding orthodontia is we can't have a policy that has no ortho and a policy that has ortho. So if we move to a product that has orthodontia, everybody's rates are gonna be higher, okay? So even if you have somebody like John who doesn't have kids that need braces, he's gonna pay more because Abby's kids can get braces, right? I mean, this is how it works, right? We are in this together, all right? So there are 2 different quotes here. I'm on page 15. One is a $1,500 orthodontia benefit, and one is a $2,000 orthodontia benefit.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not even.
Yeah, no, right, and the intent isn't to pay for the full cost of braces, but it's self-offset. Now, remember, that that's a lifetime maximum. So
For
basically,
your whole family?
no, per person,
Okay.
but basically, that's what you get. So if you choose the $1,500 plan, we know braces are gonna be 5, 6, 7 grand, right? Okay, so you're gonna, there you go. Did you say 2,500? Oh, I was gonna say 2,500, where'd you go? Did you do those yourself?
They got the hair pliers.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the dental schools,
Yeah.
4 grand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but this would basically pay $1,500 for those braces. And it's just gonna pay it out, right? If they need braces, they're gonna get the check for the money because it's gonna far exceed the 1,500. Okay, so you're looking at a difference, if you look up on page 14, okay, the single rate is $41.15 for the current plan. So the single rate with ortho for single is $43.35. Well, that's not much of a difference. And the reason that's not much of a difference is they don't pay for ortho for anybody over 18 years old. So most people that are on single health insurance are older, so they're not gonna get any benefit from ortho. Family is gonna take advantage of ortho.
I don't think we have 0 employees.
Under 18. Yeah, right. So the family rate goes from 106 to 112, okay? And I think if I'm right, the county pays half of the family, pays 100% of single and 50% of family, okay? So that would cost you guys $6 more for family per month, right? No, $3 more. You pay half of it, half the difference,
Is
okay?
it $11 more? Or no, I'm looking at the 2,000.
Yeah.
So never mind.
Yeah, and it would be if you go over there. okay?
Yeah.
So then the difference between 1,500 and 2,000 is another $5 on family and another couple bucks on single. Okay, so again, you guys don't have to decide this, but at some point, somebody should decide if that's something you want to add to your policy. Because it is going to impact the budget for you guys because you're paying 100% of single and you're paying 50% of family. But it's gonna provide a benefit that you currently don't have that a handful of your staff have asked about previously, okay?
And what would that do in the long run? Because like right now, our dental is pretty much staying the same, right? So if more people, if we offered this plan and more people started using this and you're like, okay, now our dental's gonna go up a lot more because we got a lot more people using it. We got,
Yeah.
you know, so I mean,
Great question, great question. Okay, and my answer to that would be, yes, if there's more usage,
Yeah.
there'll be increased premium, but because it's a lifetime benefit, they don't pay it out every year, it's gonna be very small. That's gonna impact your renewal far, far less than a whole bunch of people getting root canals every year. Because every year they get $2,000 towards their dental care, every year, not once in a lifetime, okay? So long-term, great questions there, but long-term, I don't think it's gonna impact your renewal anywhere near what normal usage would do.
Okay.
But we're just having to pay more because they basically know that any kid that needs braces, they're gonna shell out the 15 or the 2,000, because it's gonna cost more than that, okay? So think about that, okay? Yeah, right?
well, I see also you have oral surgery on here as well. Like, I don't, is that on our current one?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, everything but ortho is currently covered.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. And now oral surgery would be 50% reimbursement. You pay half, they pay half, like a crown, bridge, and like. Yeah, I mean, you have the best plan that Blue Dental offers.
Right.
I mean, for the richness of coverage, everything you guys have is Cadillac, which is awesome. I mean, we need to keep the people we have and be able to attract new employees, and that's how we do it.
And a lot of dentists take Blue Dental.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, you get into like my husband, like I said, Oral B, and he has Signet Dental. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good luck finding a place that takes that. You know, it's difficult.
Right.
This one's not.
Right.
Almost every place takes
And we also, I mean, splitting hairs, right, sir, but the simplicity of having everything on
one plan.
Because we go to Delta, then we're gonna get another bill from Delta. I mean, this is included in the medical bills, all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So unless we have a bunch of people saying, my dentist isn't in the network, I wouldn't change the Blue Dental. I would just consider, do you want to add ortho? Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then your vision plan, because it's under the rate guarantee, there isn't a lot to talk about other than just remembering if somebody bumps into you on the street. Yes, we offer a vision plan, okay? Basically, we pay 100% for our staff to have vision insurance. Okay, really, really good product. We call it 12-12-24. Means every 12 months they get an eye exam. Every 12 months they have access to lenses or contacts. Every 24 months they have access to frames, all at a discounted level. Their vision exam's $10, okay? So the premium is $8.68. So I always say that of all the things that Deanna and I talk about, whether it's talking to a member or talking to an employer, this is the one where I can show you value. Because at $9 a month times 12 plus a $10 copay, we can't get our eyes checked for that amount of money. So if we do nothing other than get our eyes examined, we will. Okay, so no reason to talk anything different about that. Okay, page 17 is again the breakdown of that Sun Life stuff. And this is last year's rates and last year's volume. We won't know for another probably month and a half, it sounds like, till we get the new rates. And when those rates come, depending on what they do, we're gonna either go back to the drawing board or we're gonna ask them about how much would it cost if you start administering all the tax side of the disability, right? Okay.
That would be wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so we'll do all of that for you. Make some notes and we'll do all that, and then we'll be back in touch on the renewal.
Yes,
Okay,
that's perfect. Thank you so much.
you bet. Okay. So then let's just spend a couple more minutes and then we'll get out of here and you can finish up. So page 19 is kind of that same flow chart that you saw earlier, and then I added the upcoming year and what I think, from my standpoint, what you should be thinking about doing, okay? So projected increase of about 4.7%. Claims activity and trend are driving that. We have a handful of large claimants. It's the old 90-10 rule, right? 10% using 90%, that's what we're up against. So the majority of the staff, very, very little claims volume. And if we could have pulled that $400,000 claim off of there, we would have had a 2% like we did last year. I almost guarantee it, but that one just skewed everything. Okay, but it is what it is. We're providing that.
Is that a new one or is that a?
It wasn't as big as what it was last year. Okay, it was only just a little over 100,000. Now it's getting more.
That's medical, medicine costs went up, right?
Yeah, or that person wasn't on the med full year, would be my guess. Okay.
I think that's,
think
I
that's
know
it is.
what
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it
I think
is.
that's what it is. Yeah, and that's why they're telling us that it's gonna be at least that next year. I mean, I just know, right? Yeah,
hopefully that's on the Korean RX, you know.
Yeah, we're hoping that maybe it is one of those drugs that's gonna be offset a little bit, don't know, okay? So I would suggest that you hold the 3 plans that we currently have as is, okay? So meaning don't change the plan design, potentially budget for the adjusted cost, and just move forward, okay? Now, one of the things that I've kind of been playing with on the numbers, though, is we talked about the rates going up 4.7%. If you do the math, every plan didn't go up 4.7%. It was an average of 4.7%. So ironically, if you guys pay the same amount that you did last year, 100% of that third plan, the national network plan becomes a little bit less expensive to your employees than it was this year. Not much, but $4 or $5, okay? So what you could consider doing is just renewing as is and holding the premiums exactly the same as they are today. Okay, so if I'm on the national network plan, I'm gonna pay $91.09 like I did last year. If I'm the staff member, it doesn't change me at all, okay? Because if you adjust for 100% of the current plan, they're only gonna pay about $86 instead of 91, so it's $5 a month that you're basically having to offset for them. So if you just would basically say, we're renewing the 3 health plans, no changes, no premium changes, no nothing, okay, that's a win for everybody. They're happy, you're happy, okay? All right. We can dive deeper into that if we need to, okay? Ongoing education, not just educating the high deductible health plan, but educating on everything, right? And I know sometimes the staff meetings don't always go real well, but this would be much more of an educational staff meeting. We're not here to change anything. We're not here to upset you. We're here to help you, right? We're gonna have different plan option potentially. We're gonna maybe have ortho. We're gonna talk about EAP. We're gonna talk about mental health. We're gonna do all the things that are gonna help you, okay?
Preventative exams.
Preventative exams.
Doctor on demand.
Yeah, okay.
Just remind them that they start using it, it becomes more of a habit.
Okay, yeah, and then the high deductible health plan conversation, if that's where you want to go. And I've been kind of touting that for the last couple of years, as we need at some point to probably consider one of those. And Sarah's right, there's going to be a lot of people that's like, that thing sounds like I don't want it, okay?
It's a lot of money. to
Perfectly
pay.
fine, we don't care if you take it or not, right? It's not costing us anything to throw it out there, okay? And this is what I've done in a lot of larger groups like this, is implement it and then watch it over time, gain traction, okay? Williamsburg School is the best example of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and Dr. Garber over there bought into that about 4 years ago. And I got him an ice cream cone that the first year we have under 10. And I won because we only had 4 people, and now they have 42 people. I mean, because they talk in the halls and they say, yeah, that works for me, it's a great plan. Okay.
What happened with mine was, it started out low, like, it was high, it's a high deductible plan, but it started out low like this. And then all of a sudden, it ends up at like $7 grand. And then $8 grand, and I'm like, oh my God, who has this much money?
Right.
Yeah, and that's why we
Even with
wouldn't,
health savings account, it's,
no, we sure wouldn't do that. We were talking about that out in the hall before
Yeah.
we came in, right? And that's why I focused on 3,200, okay? Because I wanted to be similar to what your out-of-pocket maximum is on your other 2 plans, right? I mean, the one plan is at 1,500, that's what.
Yeah.
Okay, but 3,000 versus 3,200 premium savings, HSA, it's a win.
Tax savings for
4 years, it went up from 3,200 to like $7 grand in 4 years. Like, I was like, holy.
The Walmart 150 plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, your names.
for me, the tax savings for you, I would anticipate you'd like those kind of tax
Really?
savings too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's deductions that I, you
Right.
know,
And I
you
do
used
get
to be able to deduct that stuff, now you can't, and that's my way of getting it.
And I will check with our compliance folks, Sarah, to make sure that the government entity can contribute.
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then I've got to go back to several of them and say, hey, we can't do that anymore, but they're doing it. Okay.
That's just surprising, but I'm glad. I mean, that's good. I mean.
And that doesn't impact you financially, right? Because you already budgeted for the other number. You already budgeted for that core plan, so then this is lower than it.
So that would be, yeah, I'm just saying about the benefit of even what, 4,000 was the max for a family that you can put in there, or 8?
8,300 per family.
Just in the one tax alone, that's $1,000 less in tax.
First line, first page, tax deduction. Do you have a health savings account? Yes. How much did you put in? 8,100, comes right up the top.
Yeah, I'm saving like 800 a year on my flex, so.
So that, and we'll talk more about that with the powers of be, right? Okay. Considering that orthodontia option, okay? voluntary benefits are something we kicked around a little bit last year, didn't move there. Everybody knows Aflac, right? Because we see the ads with the duck and see Deion Sanders now and they're advertising Aflac, okay? Aflac early on kind of cornered the market on what are called voluntary benefits. And I always explain that because a Kleenex, right, is a facial tissue, but everybody calls it a Kleenex. Everybody calls these plans Aflac, but there are a lot of companies that are selling these products that provide richer coverage than what the Aflac plan does. Okay, voluntary benefits are like what we call an accident plan or a critical illness plan, where we're basically buying an insurance policy that pays us if and when we get diagnosed with a critical illness, cancer, stroke, a heart attack. Okay, an accident plan, we're basically paying dollars to an insurance company that then pays us a cash benefit based on what happens. So if I break my leg, maybe it has a $50 benefit for the x-ray. Maybe it pays me $25 if I need crutches. If I end up in the emergency room, it gives me $100. There's this whole big scale, okay? And what has happened is as deductibles in the health insurance world unfortunately have to increase, plans like this have become more popular. Does Aflac come in here?
They do.
Okay.
Kelly, our producer, comes in.
Yeah.
They just got rid of the group plan.
Okay.
So now they're just doing individuals.
Yeah.
So
And that's
as of
pretty
last
common.
month, or this month, beginning of this month, I think.
Okay.
It's no longer group, it's just
Yeah.
individuals.
Pretty common for them to come in and sell that individual. Sometimes the opportunity comes in that group chassis, we call that. Putting that on a group chassis gives us better coverage at a lower cost. Does not affect the budget of the county. These are all voluntary benefits. You're not paying for it, but you're offering it to your employees as an opportunity because you work here, you have access to these plans, okay? And they're becoming increasingly popular, so we have to make sure we talk about them.
And at these rates.
Okay.
It makes a difference, like
Exactly.
at these rates.
That's right. And so we can get a quote on it just to see what they would charge, and then you can compare it to your Aflac plan and see maybe it'd be a better deal for people.
Do you have quite a few, Sarah? Like,
Aflac, so they just switched, so some cases happen a lot of times. I think there's, probably about, I think there's maybe about, I'm gonna say between 25 and 30.
Okay, so not bad
That's a
participation.
rough estimate.
Yeah.
Because we just had them drop it because the group coverage went, so they just dropped it altogether.
Yeah.
So that's my best guess right now.
no, that's,
And one
I hadn't heard
of
before I did payroll, so.
the carriers that we work with will basically ask for your Aflac bill, okay?
Okay.
And then he'll compare policies to make sure he's matching the coverage and then give you a rate comparison. So if you have this and you come over to this is what's gonna cost. Okay.
And we would just ask that we wait until next month's bill because that would be true.
Yeah, exactly, which is a good point, right?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, okay.
As much as I'm learning right now, don't worry.
I brought Brandy, I don't think it was last year when we talked about it, sometime last spring, a short little video that talked about an online enrollment tool.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's basically trying to become more efficient, okay? So an online enrollment tool, most companies now, larger companies are gonna have something like this, where basically all of your benefits are housed on a internet-based system, where you just have a website that you go to and you enroll for your benefits. So you have a new hire. We still put together a really nice booklet for them, but then you give them a website and it emails them and they go out and they basically pick and choose the benefits they want right online, okay? And it shows the cost associated with that, so it toggles between the health plans and it'll say, if you choose this health plan, it's free. If you choose this plan, it's gonna cost you $91, whatever, and it keeps a running total, okay? And all the information has to go in there, so they're putting in their date of birth, social security number, their address, and they get to the end, all the applications from all the different companies, dental, vision, medical, it's all pre-filled for them. They push one button and it's done. So there's no more paper shuffle, okay? Everything's done electronically, okay? The struggle is how fluent people are using that type of a system, right? And so that's always the struggle. It's like, well, the secondary roads guys are gonna freak because they don't spend any time on the computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But couldn't somebody like me help them
Absolutely.
or?
Yep.
Yeah.
okay, and you'll be surprised at what they really do know. I like to say, but, okay, we implemented this I use this example, but it's at an insulation company in Marion, and half of them were not even English speaking. And before I left the meeting, most of them were already on their phone enrolling. I mean, people know how to do it, okay? We'll show you that. There's no cost. We provide that to you as a service from our office at no cost to buy the system, to have the system in place, okay? We want to make sure that everybody downstairs is very familiar with how it works before we even think about rolling it out. We want to show you the demo, so you see how it works, okay? We just think about that.
So on there, I mean, it wouldn't be like Blues and Rolls though, where I still have to go in and I still have to enter stuff because it's an effective date issue and they won't know, well, they could know, they could just put whatever they want with their effective date, but that's not how it works. So I would still need to use Blues and Rolls and go in and take them out as well. Not only with that, but with the visa still and everything, right?
But just saves us the paperwork.
Then work on it. So instead of that, instead of getting this, what is that? There was a piece of paper here that showed our insurance.
This,
Yeah, like that. So instead of getting that,
yeah.
they would need to go on there and do that. So
And a
is there
new
a
hire.
tracker on that though? Because
Yes.
even with these pieces of paper that they fill out themselves, they'll come back and say, I didn't select that.
Yeah, nope.
And it's like, you pull up a piece of paper, yes, you did.
That's the, that is the beauty of that system.
They have to sign.
Okay.
So they're actually, and it's getting a lot more robust so that some of those are just gonna go EDI feeds right over. So we would not have to go Blues and Roll. Walmart does not play with any of those online unless you're, well, we have Blues and Roll. But I guess if there's any other way to get an EDI feed, we could do that. But they usually do that through payroll. And do you guys still do your own payroll?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we can't do that.
We'll show it to you.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
show it to you again. I wanted to put it on here as
But we can, yeah.
continuing to think about it, okay? It does create some efficiency. It's just sometimes easier.
Yeah.
I put employee handbook review, and I know you have a legal team, and I don't know how often you go through your employee handbook.
It needs to happen.
Okay, and maybe, if nothing else, looking at the benefits section of your employee, I don't want to dive into anything else, but the
Yeah.
benefits section of your employee handbook wouldn't be a bad idea have somebody indirectly look at that for us. We're finding a lot of gaps in the handbook language. Okay,
What
we
we're actually providing.
well, we ran into an issue like with long-term disability. This is a
Yeah.
great example, okay? How long is somebody considered an employee if they're on long-term disability? That's not in your handbook. Technically, they're an employee forever because okay, so let's say that I'm working for you and I get in a car accident and I go on a long-term disability. Well, you gotta replace me. If I'm driving a snowplow, you gotta hire well, technically I still have my job there. If I can come back to work, how long do we have to hold my job? How long until I can replace Rick? How long until we send him COBRA information because he's no longer an employee? Okay, all that has to be in your handbook. Happens. So it's just not a bad idea, just as a refresher to take a look
Ours is
at.
on our website.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah, take a look at it.
I mean,
there's a time.
Okay. One of the other things we're seeing a lot with larger groups, okay? We talked a lot today about medication costs. It's having a separate out-of-pocket maximum for the medications. Okay, so right now your health plans feed an out-of-pocket maximum on all of them. Okay, so if I'm on that $300,000 medication, okay, 400,000 divided by 12, right, is about 50 grand a month. So the first month that I fill that script, I've hit my out-of-pocket maximum on my policy. Anything that happens to me the rest of the year, I don't pay anything. Okay, so sometimes we pull drugs off of the out-of-pocket and have a separate one. Okay, so now if my appendix ruptures, I have a separate out-of-pocket maximum than my medication total. It's not all feeding the same one. Okay, we're not going to do that now. That would be a mitigation issue if we have a 20% rate increase some year.
Yeah.
Okay, so just know those are just tools. Okay, and then Abby mentioned earlier about self-funding.
That might be a conversation for.
Yeah, okay, so now that we've been able to kind of stabilize these rates, okay, and I don't have the magic bulb that says next year it's not gonna come back, but if we can continue on a path of around this 5-6% or less, okay, at some point, we need to consider fully self-funding our health plan. Basically, we pay the claims. Now, you still have Blue Cross administering everything behind the scenes. Okay, but instead of sending them a monthly premium, you're sending them the amount that they need to pay your claims volume from that previous month.
Because our claims volume is less than our premium.
You're getting close.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly. And that, you picked up on that right away. Okay, so as soon as that starts to balance out.
One bad year.
Absolutely, you're running that risk of.
And you can't budget for it as well either.
That's right, that's right. And so I'm not ready yet.
No,
okay?
but I'm thinking
But next
about
year,
it,
it might be something that we at least dive deeper into the conversation, how does it work? Okay, from an administration standpoint, how do we administer that downstairs? How do they determine our rates? Okay, because what you're doing is basically that $700,000 administrative fee that you're paying, there'll still be costs there, but it'll be much, much lower. Okay, you still have to buy reinsurance, you have reinsurance, okay, but you're not, Walmart's not administering all your claims for you, so they're gonna charge you less money, okay? But there's some hurdles that staff downstairs that has to deal with.
I can give them 3 right off the bat, but whatever.
But it's just, I mean, we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't at least talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want somebody else to come in here and say, "Well, ever talking about self-funding?" But,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that would be another thing I just added yesterday when I was doing my little notes, but, other than that, I'm sorry that I get rolling and I
No,
talk
you're
so
good.
much, but trying to get through some information. Hopefully this allows you guys to hit the street and know a little bit more. Cool.
Yeah, it's cold. We have the cold side. I'm like, I don't want my coat on.
It's gonna get cold outside.
Sarah, what I think we'll do is maybe just visit with Brandy. She gets back, tell her we did the meeting, and if whoever wants to meet next, whether that's the subcommittee, whether that's just, okay? And I can sure come back to meet with the whole group, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, before I ask so many questions, I'm gonna relay this to Brandy, so I wanna make sure that I understand it. I'm not giving her wrong information, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and I got a couple extra booklets. So
Can I have
so you
the,
can
do you
have
have the one with all the details?
You
Can
want
I keep
this,
that?
she wants that, yep, I knew you would, that's why I brought you one.
I like those.
I'm always kind of hesitant, guys and gals, I'm always hesitant when I come to a public meeting on what I present to you
This is gonna be really
and what,
touchy.
and what I give you, because anything I give you can end up in the paper, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm always,
Well, not today.
yeah, exactly.
Well, she goes back and watches and says,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've been around long enough to know,
Took her share.
it's gotta be your.
I'm still amazed. One run costs that much for one person.
I was, and that's obviously an anomaly, that's not. we don't-
We're taking a guy that barely takes aspirin. So I'm just,
But honestly, I mean, 10,000, not gonna come at all, $10,000, but that's.
what's your parts gonna cost?
that's parts.
I'm sure it's so much, though.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying, I just can't imagine a drug costing that much. It just,
Oh, it's just crazy, some of these things.
Some of these diabetic
You wanna know-
meds too are getting really
you're thinking,
expensive.
what the heck is the profit margin on that? Holy cow.
That's the biggest issue.
Did you ever give a shot of drugs
It's
into a
big
cat
part.
before?
Yeah, but I didn't ask.
Probably a good choice.
Those kind of things in 4-H camp, you don't ask, they just got it.
There you go.
So you remember, you're probably paying $150 a month for that.
Yeah, but I'm just,
Remember copay for that medicine, it's probably a specialty.
and I'm not, I have no words by saying, don't do it, it's just.
No, I know, but
It's
it's,
astounding.
Right.
I got a little cost.
It doesn't really cost that much, but it's about.
Yeah.
The same as how generic is cheaper, it's the same as Acapulco.
That's
Non-generic,
that's
you
the
know,
first that
pretty much.
Compass is the #1.
yeah, it's on it.
Yeah,
Compass cards work, I see.
it is. I like
Where
it.
is the drug bill?
Yeah.
That's a I think they're redoing it, are they?
The only thing they did was change the oncology. I think that was it.
Yeah. So when I get that.
Oh, yeah, I'll take
we
those.
do a book sale.
That way
Okay,
I
I
can
can
see
forward
them.
it to you.
Thank you.
You've been a hard time for me.
Where are the Raiders playing? What? Where are the Raiders playing that?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Ian's got a daughter plays for Xavier.
Yes, that seems.
Yeah, I do the book for the Solon girls, so keep track of it.
Oh, Solon and Xavier, shouldn't like either one of you.
I don't like that. I'm with you, I'll stand on that side of the table. Right. It's good to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Good to
Thank
see
you. Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Let us know whatever you need, okay?
Yeah.
Go from there.
Sarah, you got my number right?
Yes. That thing that you sent me last time for the last person that I sent you Cobra for, you sent me 2 of the same things.
Okay.
So that third
I
one.
think I was out of town. This week
Yeah.
I've been out of town, so I will.
That third one I need, yeah.
Okay, I'll send it to
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, good luck with the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
too.
guys.
Have a great weekend, guys. See you then.
Okay, so now we're done with the top part, finally.
Yeah, just a little progress here, 1 o'clock.
We're gonna jump down to number 9. And come back to 7.
Because we didn't have any of the liquor license. or anything.
No liquor license, no.
Motion to approve it. I saw Lou signed off. Or, sorry, Tim did.
Consideration approval of agreement. SAB 7540. And you made the motion?
Yep.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
Yeah, I think you need to sign it here. I don't have the page, maybe not. I think maybe on the back, it's, sorry, give me a second.
Not a client? I'm the client.
So yes, you'd be the client. Iowa County, yep. Go right up to there, yeah. Sorry.
Number 10, landfill appointment. I talked to Matt Foltz, or I didn't talk to, I had been approached that Matt Foltz would be willing to do that for our landfill appointment.
He said he would not.
He would.
Did we have one up?
The Naza got off.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is Matt
We talked
Foltz
about
still live here?
Did we?
Yes.
I'm ahead and stand.
Yes.
Is that on Ringo?
Matt would be great. Yeah, so I would like that. I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
Yes.
Mary needs
Number
to up
thir-
her,
Number 13 would be a first discussion.
yeah.
There you go. Oh, wait.
They do not have anybody right now
I didn't sign minutes yet.
that has control of the credit card out there,
Oh,
so.
okay.
So,
I
I would, Mary would be responsible enough to handle it.
Yeah.
She's gonna use it the most just to get supplies and stuff for her program.
So instead of whoever gets hired as,
When it comes to that, we'll just,
do talk about it again.
yeah. But, yes.
I'll make a motion.
Wait. Do we want to set, is there a limit already?
There is.
3,000.
Yeah, on that.
Okay, that's what I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it was on that application.
And I signed the application as an intern
Yeah.
director. So,
Okay, Abby made the motion. Did you second it?
I think you better say.
I can second it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, you're the chairman?
Yeah, because I signed the
Yeah.
request.
Oh.
So like I'll recuse myself.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay.
I better stay out of it.
Chris is abstaining. Yep.
Kevin, what'd you say? Did you say aye?
I don't vote most of the time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You didn't name it. Okay, we're good. You seconded it. Jesus. I'm getting off of my writing here.
You've been here too long. Back up to budget discussions. Budget discussions, I don't know how in depth we want to go with not having Cindy or Randy here. We can if you'd like to, and I think we need to set up a time for the first part of the week to meet again for more budget discussion.
Well, when does Brandy come back?
She's supposed to be back Monday, I believe.
She'll be back Monday, but she told me, Thursday afternoon's a no, and Thursday morning's a no.
Okay.
Do doctor appointments or something.
Wednesday I have Board of Health, so that would be ideal later morning for me.
Wednesday morning?
Yeah, but later morning, because I have Board of Health at 8:30.
I'll be unavailable till Fridays.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but,
You guys can discuss.
Wednesday afternoon, she's busy, so we could have to talk. I don't know how long you're gonna take it for health.
I don't know either.
That's the bad
Depends
thing.
how much I want
I just want to know, like, you know, that Brandy said Wednesday afternoon's bad.
Oh, Wednesday afternoon's bad?
Yeah,
They
Wednesday,
said
to. Or if
Thursday.
it's a Thursday.
I said Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning.
Wednesday
Oh, I
afternoon.
thought you said Thursday.
Yeah, I did too. I think you
Wednesday
did.
okay, the Wednesday afternoon is a no, and Thursday morning is a no for Brandy.
So Tuesday.
How about do work Tuesday, work for anybody?
Tuesday, I need to do something Tuesday, but I could push it off to Wednesday. Thursday's out.
Maybe the 23rd,
Let
right?
me look.
And then Wednesday night, we have conference board,
Yeah, we do.
just a reminder.
So,
I've got Monday and Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm pretty well open.
So Brady's probably gonna have a lot to come back to.
Well, I thought Monday would be bad.
Yeah, Monday would probably be bad. She just has a ton. She's got a ton.
So you're thinking Tuesday afternoon?
I said Tuesday, I didn't say when.
I prefer not to do it in the morning, 'cause every time we do it in the morning, I have to pay somebody to, you know,
That's
so
what that's,
that'd be 3 days. Next week, I have to pay somebody.
1 o'clock?
One of, she. Could we do 1:30?
Russ?
1:30 on Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm just gonna put this in the book,
So,
budget meeting.
I mean, just to have a highlight, I'm gonna send out that email
Tuesday
where,
1:30, I'm gonna make a meeting right now.
yeah.
That's what I'm doing, I'm trying to make like.
So, when you guys wanna do your agenda for it, are we gonna be calling to order, pledge of allegiance, we're gonna be doing all that stuff, or is it strictly just going to be, we approve the agenda and go straight to the budget meeting?
Do that.
Okay. You okay with that, Kevin? Yeah. Okay. I just need to know for that. Okay, good.
So, obviously I sent it out in the email. Our rural services isn't horrible. I think that one's manageable, but it's the supplemental fund that we have to increase by 1%, which is $1.2 million in taxes.
You said that's 14% of your raise that?
12 something just for that levy rate, and if we do the supplement, or the rural too, then it's 14 total. So, I don't know, so something's gonna have to happen, I think. I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels, but, and Alan's not here either, but I don't wanna raise property taxes 14% in 1 year. So I don't know how we're going to come up with the 1.2 million.
Well, even if you cut the wages, the salaries, it was only, didn't you say it was, is it only 170,000 or something, you said that one time?
Salaries,
172,000, I think you said.
let me tell you.
Well, that's only.
Right now, what I am looking at, I think what we have in raises is 430,000 of this budget, the increase.
What was 170,000 then?
Yeah, thanks. That
If you did it down to a third,
Oh,
would be the savings.
862 times 0.33,
Just,
yeah. So,
could we do like an across the board cut? Ask everybody
Yeah,
to
take
cut their
it.
budgets a certain percentage?
Yes, Mark?
what do you say now?
Could we do like an across the board
No, I mean.
you could do that, okay, so in my opinion, you could do that, but we've gone through everybody's budgets. Again, I know it's up to them where to find it.
Exactly, that's what I mean. If let's say you figured out, this is the money we have to come up with, this is the percentage of our budget. Could everybody look to see where they could take 2% off their budget?
No, 2%'s not a big thing either.
Not for 1 point, and see, the thing is, the only way any of that would work is if we put EMA back in the general and cut the general down by 600,000.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
And coming up with 650,000,
So how much percentage of the budget would that be? I guess.
out of the general fund?
Well, if we have to come up with so much money, what'd you say,
So if EMA stays in supplemental, it's 1.2 million.
so we'd have to see what it'd be like if EMA went back there and then we.
But you'd have to cut,
Shouldn't matter where EMA's at, either way, you gotta come up with the same amount of money.
yes and no, but the thing with,
The levy rates, we do.
yeah, see, the general fund's capped, the supplemental fund is not.
I know, but that's the way we make it work before, is having to get in supplemental.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you could, so, okay, let me give you an example. If you cut let's say we cut the general fund by 600,000, we have to fill that back up, because you have to maximize that levy to be able to even have the supplemental. You can't
Right, it's gotta
do,
be maxed out.
yeah, so if we cut 600,000 out of the general, you still have to move 600,000 from supplemental back to general, which would be like an EMA or whatever, a whole budget. It's better to do that than piecemeal people's benefits in there and have some still in the other one. So it's better to move a whole budget like that, and that's the only department that has a whole budget in there, because it's the only one that can.
Right, but where are you gonna, obviously you've looked into this, but where are you gonna find 600,000 to cut?
I don't know, that's what I'm saying.
That's a big chunk of change.
But
I mean, like I said, we've gone through everybody's budget pretty well.
I have an idea, and Chris knows it, but I don't know if I wanna publicly state it yet.
As I said, we are live yet.
Yep.
Yeah. So I might wait and share that later on something when I can progress it more. But I do have, and it's eliminating part of a department, but
Anytime, I said, I'm sure you looked at this too, but certain departments are protected to make sure that what you want to do is legal.
mhm,
I think I said that right.
mhm.
What if like a couple big projects got put off?
Like what?
I said, well,
The ambulance would be one, but
What's that?
the ambulance would be one, but he does have that in that ending fund balance. Sorry, like
So
part of that.
anything that like Nick's doing, that's not gonna affect.
Well, we always give him 1.3.
But that, what Nick was saying is anything we lower over there is gonna be like less rock, right?
Right.
Has nothing to do with the bridges or the roads or, because those are all tipped.
Yeah. We could give him 600,000 less in rock and then,
What about Phillips now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna listing my phone number.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. Come about middle of March.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, wait, so.
so, I mean, we're gonna have to get creative, I think.
Well, the thing is sitting here, don't want to raise taxes. I mean, that's for sure. But
But in real life, we have to raise taxes just to meet, keep up with inflation.
to meet our basic needs even if we
Maybe
did
not as
have.
much as, to make everything work, but there's gonna be outdoors.
But also, we should consider that we could be getting a decent chunk more from these cities for the law enforcement, which is a big part of our budget anyways.
Well, I guarantee you, like Millersburg, Parnell, Victor, and Medora, they're not gonna get much,
And then they don't get it. They don't get the service, and
Exactly.
then they have to provide.
They have to
Yeah,
get
but
private sources.
they're not, I mean, I don't know where they would come up with the funds.
I don't know, I had the thing that popped into my head, I think 6,000,
And then they have to levy for
and
it.
that's not much,
At least.
but that'd be a jump from 1,200 or 1,900.
Because the cities have the right to make their levy up, to levy for it.
They can't levy just for law enforcement, I don't think.
But they can raise their general, though, until you get out of there.
Yeah. I don't know, is Parnell, Millersburg, Medora, are they maxed out on their levy rate?
I couldn't tell you.
I can tell you on the Department of Management's website.
Look at,
Next thing you know, they'll all become villages.
what's that?
Next thing you know, it'll be part of a village.
Yeah, I know the doors talked about it, becoming unincorporated.
Incorporating.
And that's realistically, my personal opinion is something that they really should seriously be looking at because, yeah,
We got enough people to be at the, what'd you say, that other meeting?
So they become unincorporated, what the
Wednesday.
Wednesday night?
That's paid, so everybody's, how they do their super.
Because I'm gonna be out of state.
So,
Chris, are you coming on Wednesday night?
is that for the?
Conference board?
Because I'll be out of
You'll be
state.
coming?
I think so.
Okay, we just make sure we have a quorum, he's gonna be going.
Yeah,
We have to have 3 of us there. then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm planning on it.
Well, we don't have to be, it's just our vote wouldn't count then.
Right.
And Tuesday, do you guys want to meet? And do you want me to try and call in and just be brief or just wait till Friday and be brief? Or just wait till Friday?
You can wait till Friday.
And we'll call you something crazy. so-
Yeah, something.
Yeah, call or text, I'll be.
If you're slurring, then we'll hang up the phone.
Should be.
Is there anything else that David wants on for Friday's meeting yet?
I gotta reschedule that, wasn't being Mark,
Mark Miller,
yeah, but Alan, I think, sent me an email with it, so,
you got Tracy.
Tracy, I got at 10, and then I have Robert Otter coming in at 10:15, he probably only needs 15 minutes, right?
I don't know.
Rudy, should I not schedule anything until 10:45, give him,
You probably should give Rob a half an hour, shouldn't you?
Probably.
okay, I'm gonna,
I think at least.
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go down, 10:45 will be the next appointment then.
Is there anything else you'd like to discuss
Just
on
get the
Friday?
sodium numbers up.
The budget's always on there.
For 85,
We're just, is she in a home up there or assisted living?
Okay,
no, she has her own apartment up there.
right.
Assisted living apartment or
Is there a
no,
motion
she's by herself
to
still?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
You guys want to say aye?
Right?
I was like, what's happening? We're
Kevin and I are
never.
both, Kevin and I are both sitting over like, what?
We never leave here, apparently. We're gonna spend the whole day here.
Motion approved. We are adjourned.
No, one second.
I think
One
he's
second.
in it. I gotta-
No, they brought her down here because they figured Mason City wasn't gonna touch her area because her surgery was gonna be done.